Oh, hello, good evening, and welcome to Be More Super Live. I'm Brian, your host, and what a great show we've got for you this evening. So, we are going live for the next 3 hours non-stop. We are joined by 6 incredible guests, so don't go anywhere. You're very lucky. You can nip to the toilet. I can't. So, this is going to be quite an interesting live show. So, what are we doing this for? Well, we're doing it for the mental health UK charity Mind, which helps so many people in mental health crisis. So people suffering from suicidal thoughts to different other mental health issues, they can go on their website, which we have got a link in the description of this video for you to go onto, but not yet. After the stream, don't go on it yet. Also, we are raising money to help them because obviously they need to pay for people on phone lines. They've got to pay for their websites and resources. So please donate on the link in the description of the video, and 100% of everything that you give go to this wonderful charity. So 6 guests, 3 hours. Let's get on with the first wonderful guest. She is coming back on to the show, and I'm so excited. But before we get her on, let's have a look at her latest project.
You come a long way, Anna. Your journey started long before your flight here.
All right. Right.
Tina's methods are wonderful.
Yeah, she's a healer.
How so?
Your lives are about to change.
That's not blood, is it?
But this isn't working for me, so.
You can't leave.
You arrived.
Oh, welcome to the show, Kimberly Sue Murray. Kimberly, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And it's really exciting to have you back because literally the last time we had you back on, you've been so busy. So how has life been treating you since we last spoke?
It's absolute madness. It's been busy. It's been busy. I'm a mother now, and juggling an acting career with motherhood is absolutely bonkers, but in the best possible way. I feel very, very lucky.
Bless you. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine how hard it can be to juggle that. But you obviously are bringing out some great projects. We've got Love is the Monster. Before I mention that, actually, the last time I had you on the show, we talked about Trader, which is an absolutely stunning film. It really is. And to go full circle, I had Sean Benson on my show a little while back.
I love Sean.
Who does the voice of Bob the Broker on the film, and he had some fun memories. I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen this film, and I urge everyone to watch it. Can you just give the audience a bit of a rundown of what this film is about?
I mean, the poster kind of says it. This is a success story. So it's about this sort of like this character. We know very little about her. It's a one character, one location feature film. It's a psychological thriller, I would say, kind of shot very stylistically, like kind of like a horror film. It's not horror, and so it's her journey to the top of. I mean, she's a con. She's a con, and she takes over the stock market, day trading, and how far are you willing to go to succeed? So that's her journey.
And it's
And she's
definitely,
willing to go very far.
she does, and it's such a must watch. Everyone needs to watch it. It's one of those films that I often think about, like I'm going to watch it again because I enjoyed it so much. And then we've got your latest project, which is Love Is the Monster, which is currently, if I'm right in saying, out in the US and Canada, but it's not out in the UK yet. Which
Not yet.
the buzz on this film is incredible because I think it got shown at
Is it?
Screamfest.
I don't know anything.
You just turn up, do your work, and then go home. But no, the buzz
Exactly.
on this film is incredible. I mean, obviously from the trailer, it's definitely not a comedy. It's definitely not a
No.
a romance as such. Can you give us a lowdown of what this film is roughly about?
Yes, so it's just a bunch of troubled couples who end up going to this retreat in Finland, and there's a shaman who's sort of guiding them, and the goal is to sort of rekindle their love. So it's inspired by Finnish mythology, and there's the goddess of love and fertility, which is Lempo, but everything goes wrong because this goddess of love and fertility is malevolent.
It looks very interesting from the trailer. And who do you play in the film?
I play Harper. She's one of the couples. She's something else. She she kind of speaks her mind and likes to stir the pot a little bit. And gets possessed by Lempo and does some not very nice things. Definitely an antagonist. I tend to play a lot of antagonists.
But it looks so good, and the reviews have been incredible, and the buzz online. I'm just waiting for it to come over to the UK because I know that everyone's talking about it, and I'm going to try and work my magic and get a screener, so then I can watch it.
Oh,
before
I'm sure
everyone
we
else.
can get you a screener. I'm sure. Let me
I
see
can't.
what I can do. I haven't seen it yet,
What?
but
What?
I know.
We can organize a watch party. How good would that
Oh,
be? Do you know what I mean? But I mean, with obviously you mentioned a minute ago that you've become a mother now. Just out of
mhm.
curiosity, I mean, has your approach to the industry changed since becoming a mother?
Yeah. Yeah, it really has. It really has. And there's certain projects now that I wouldn't do just because of there's something about motherhood or just becoming a parent where you're before being a parent, your heart is on the inside you can protect it, and once you become a parent, your heart is on the outside.
Mm.
So I've become like extremely self-aware and mindful, and so I'm just being a bit more selective with with the kinds of roles that I want to play, but also mindful of my time, my energy, because I have a toddler. He's 17 months old, and there's only so much energy I have. But it's been amazing. But I also feel a sense of duty and a huge responsibility to getting engaged in the industry the way that I haven't been in the past. Like for example, with my union,
Mm.
I've yeah. So I just feel like a mom, and I want to take care of younger actors, and
D-
that's making sure that our union is protecting us as best they can.
and looking at your past roles, now you're a mum. Do you think that you would want to maybe go towards roles that in the future your little one might enjoy watching? I mean, I notice that there's a lot of actors that do that literally do the roles for their kids, really.
Mm. No, I'll keep doing it for me because I'm pretty sure my kid will not be interested in what I'm doing. He'll be like, "Oh my God, who cares? My mom's an actor." Um, but I think it's as long as I can stand. I think it's like when a role comes in and it's like if the story doesn't move me or if the character, like sometimes you just like you do it because it's been really quiet and you're wanting to be on set and you do it for the money or whatever. And I'm like, that is no longer how I will pick roles. It's like, can I stand by this? Can I be proud of this work? And if one day my kid watches it, will I want to dig myself a hole?
Yeah, I mean, again, I suppose that there is going to be a point when your child gets to an age where they'll be watching all your roles, all of them. Um, so that would be an interesting time. I mean, you've built a very strong sort of diverse career, across Canada and internationally. But what's been the biggest lesson you've learned navigating this industry? Because we are going to talk about ACTRA, we are going to talk about the industry as a whole, but what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned so far?
Hmm. Oh, I always thought that my talent would sort of speak for itself, and I was gonna have a very good career, and that was enough. And I think for most of my 20s, that's how I thought. And then I realized, or mid 30s, a couple years back, that I was like, oh, wait, this is not a meritocracy. This is not the best person for the part gets the role. It's very much a business. And so I've learned in the last couple of years to lean into or get or learn more about the business side of things. So like marketing and social media and how you present yourself to the world, and it's who you know. And even just this year alone, I've worked with a handful of people that I've worked with in the past. So it's like, oh, I got those roles because I have a relationship with these people.
Mm,
Um, so I'm leaning into that more, sort of nurturing relationships, fostering relationships that I care about, people that I want to collaborate with in the future. For example, Laurence Gendron, who was the producer of Love is the Monster, we met on set. Her and I totally just clicked as friends, And then I was like, wait a second, like I see a collaborator here, someone that I really want to work with in the future. So I've told her that, and her and I are co-producing a feature. I can't say anything about it yet; it's too early in the development. But like things like that I I think in my 20s I wasn't seeking that out. I was just kind of like, oh, as an actor, I'm brought in later in the process. Whereas now I'm like, no, let's see where I can sort of where I can move the needle and steer my career towards, a path that excites me as an artist.
mm. Do you think performers now are becoming a lot more empowered in the way of the industry? Because, I mean, for example, I mean, you've been in V War, Shadowhunters, so many shows that have been on streaming platforms, and it's
Hmm.
been in the news a lot with, your residuals and getting a fair pay and everything like that. And I've noticed, a lot more, like we mentioned before we went live, that I've been watching your streams where you've been talking about actor, you've been talking about the industry, and I get a feeling that things are changing, that actors are becoming a bit more empowered and actually taking control. Do you see that happening? And what else can other performers like yourself need to do to make more of a movement to try and change things?
Well, we need more engagement, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like I didn't get engaged in my union. Like I didn't know what was happening up until like this year,
Mm,
you know? So 15 years into my career and I didn't know much. So we need more engagement. We need change. Change is required because I don't see a future for the Canadian industry as is unless the performers come together and we start asking for change. You mentioned residuals. Like Canadians don't get residuals. We get residuals for uh let's say that, so they buy you out. You get your daily rate and then they buy you out, and for a period, so let's say 6 years. The buyout, it covers 6 years, so you don't get anything for 6 years. After that, if the project is still airing or it was bought by another streamer or whatever, that's where you will get like I'm like peanuts. So Americans get the residuals, so they get less upfront, but then I mean, I know people who still live off of their residuals, so we don't have that at ACTRA. Um, I don't know if we could get residuals, but that's something that if the membership is interested in, like, that we can ask questions. But it's a union that is meant to be a reflection of the membership, and right now there's just not enough engagements.
Wow.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I know very little about it. I'm still learning, but I'm actively asking questions. And I was just using my platform on social media, on Instagram, to allow the counselors to speak to it and to, yeah, I don't know what else to do other than
Yeah.
share my platform.
That's crazy. It really is, because you would think that a streaming platform that big would treat people fairly. It's like buying coffee. You know, you want to buy fair trade because you know the workers have all been paid fairly. I would understand that if you didn't get residuals, if you were getting paid a higher rate. So it's sort of, if you got paid slightly lower, but then you got residuals, or you had an option of getting paid a bit higher, but then it's a buyout.
Hmm.
That would make sense. But again, you know, I don't know what happens behind
I
closed
think,
doors.
I mean, as Canadians, I don't think we know what we're missing because we've always had the buyout option. That it's
Mm,
always been that way. And the buyout doubles your day. Like if it's 100% buyout, it doubles your rate. So that looks good. And
wow.
sometimes if it's a theatrical release and you're like 125% of my rate. Whoa. So
Yeah.
I just don't know if any of us, unless you've worked on an American show under a SAG contract, in which case you would have experienced the residuals. I hear residuals are awesome, but I've personally not not had any.
To be fair, I've seen some videos of some actors doing live envelope openings of residuals, and it's like 20 cents here, 60
Yeah.
cents there, and it's just crazy to think. And I think that as fans, as viewers, I think we can be as responsible as well, because at the end of the day, we are paying for this service, and we should do
Mhm.
our talking with our money. Do a lot of people, for instance, came away from Disney, and
Mhm.
cancelled Disney subscriptions, etc. But again, these big corporations, it's going to be hard to get anything moving, because they are so big. I mean, with your career, I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen your previous interview with me, I mean, you've had so many great roles. In Shadowhunters, we saw you as a Seelie Queen,
Mhm.
and V Wars, as well as The Boys. Have you got, a role to date that you're proudest of, not only as a performer, but the actual project itself?
Ah, I mean, hmm. In terms of the process and the experience itself, I think Trader was definitely, it's top of my list because when do you ever get as an actor an opportunity to be alone on camera for 90 minutes and to arc that journey of a character? It was such it was so big of a mountain to climb, but so I'm really proud of what we did there. I did a film in January of this year, where I had 2 weeks to prep a Bosnian accent. So it's a sort of a dramedy about a woman who has a head injury and she wakes up with the foreign accent syndrome. Have you heard of
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah.
It's
There,
an
there was a
actual, yeah,
woman
an
that
actual,
woke up with a Chinese sort of Asian accent.
yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, the brain injury, it creates like a speech impediment. You don't actually, like, if a dialect coach were to, like, oh, the dialect itself isn't like authentic, but the sounds are, the placement of the tongue, the
yeah,
mouth of the sounds are altered, and it does sound like, oh my God, this person sounds like she's from China, but she's clearly white and is not from China. And oftentimes these people have never been to these countries, right? So it's a real mystery. So my character wakes up with a Bosnian accent and then sort of takes on this identity of a Bosnian immigrant. So it's a movie about belonging, and the immigrant experience and audible minorities, which I could relate to the audible minority part because I'm French Canadian. And my whole life, I didn't really belong. Back home, I was an Anglo in a French community. And then I went to school in Montreal in English. And all of a sudden, I was I was the French girl. So that was like my way into the character, but that was wild. And it's a dramedy, so there was a lot of humor, but a lot of heart, and such a beautiful, beautiful team. I haven't seen it yet, but I have very high hopes.
Do you
You
like?
kind of want the final product to mirror the experience of the shoot. You know, when you've had an amazing shoot and then you watch the film and you're like, huh, that didn't really pan out the way I would hope so. Yeah.
I am sure the magic will be there, and I wanted to ask: do you enjoy watching yourself? Are you quite critical of yourself, or do you sort of wince? Because I personally hate listening to my own voice. I hate looking at my own face. I couldn't think of anything worse. So, what is it like
I
like
think we
for you?
are our worst critics. I think it I don't love it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I like to kind of like watch a first pass on my own without the sound, and and then I'll listen again with the sound, and then maybe watch it with an audience. But my worst mistake was watching my first pass, like watching it for the first time with an audience,
Mm.
because I had so much anxiety. I need to it needs to be a private thing first. But yeah, I when I do my auditions, I like to watch back because I can watch it from a different perspective. I'm kind of like the director in that moment. But I don't. I could live my whole life without watching myself. I'd be fine with that. Because I'm an actor, not I'm an actor because I love acting. I love being on set. I love doing the thing. But do I have to watch the thing? No, no.
That's what everyone else needs to do. I mean, this stream is for the mental health charity Mind, and
Yes.
with actors, acting can be quite up and down, quite stressful. How do you manage your own mental health? What do you do? What routines have you got in place to keep yourself sort of okay?
Yeah. I mean, you said it's very up and down, and I try. I mean, I feel like a lot of actors are like this, where they have like when they're not working, they have a pretty good routine, and then the second they get a job, the routine just goes right out the window. Um, and so because when you're on set, it's really all encompassing. So I find that I just one give myself some grace, because when you're on set, and especially when you're a lead, there's you gotta sleep well and you gotta eat well. So first things first, I think, is like a good lots of self-care that way. I don't tend to party on the weekend. I like to sleep. I like to eat well, so that tends to be protein, carbs, and a good veggies and fruit, and stay away from the candy on set. Although I do sometimes on a hard day, we'll go to the candy. And hydration. So taking care of the body. And then, I really believe in therapy. I've been in therapy for 4 years. So every other week I see my therapist, and I found someone who is really suited to me. She used to be an actor. She's a mom. So there's just this mutual understanding. What else? I think having a great support system, like people. I have different groups of people that I turn to. I'm very close with my mom and my sister. We talk like every day. And then I have a great core group of friends who are actors. And then there's the person that I turn to when I have like a business issue. And then there's the person I turn to for like my love life. And there's like my husband is like he's good at challenging me. So if I need to get out of a rut, he's the person I turn to. So having different people that I can lean on. Um, yeah, like just trying to think, mindfulness, like just getting physical, going for a run or taking a yoga class or getting a massage, like just the body holds on to so much tension.
Mm,
But yeah, mental health is important to me. I was a very anxious kid.
mm.
I wish, we didn't talk about mental health back then.
No.
Like I think at 8, 9, 10, I would have been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, and I would have been in therapy at a young age, which, you know, in hindsight that was too bad because I internalized a lot of that stuff for a long time until it was like, okay, it's too much. I need help. Um, and I went through a phase in my life where I was medicated, and that got me through. So there's no judgment around like asking for the help that you need.
Mm.
Um, and so it means a lot to me. And so I
Yeah.
was very, very glad that you reached out.
I mean, this is a thing, isn't it? There's so much stigma against, asking for help or
Yeah.
talking about it, especially in the UK. I mean, you said there that you got a therapist. I mean, I've always said that a therapist is like going to the gym for your body. You go to the gym to get a healthy body, but what do you do for your mind? And I think people don't speak enough about it and share problems and yeah, it's one of those things that I think awareness needs to be greater, especially in the UK, because it's
Absolutely.
shocking, shocking statistics on, how many people suffer, and I think we've all been there, and now you've got a little
But Brian,
one,
it's not just awareness, it's accessibility.
of course.
Because I think people have been aware for a long time that there's an issue here,
Mm,
like a global mental health issue. But the thing is that it's not accessible.
yeah.
Like I'm a working actor, I have insurance, and my insurance doesn't cover talk therapy. My insurance covers like if I were to go to a psychiatrist. But
Right.
the last psychiatrist that I saw uh, wanted me to take medication. He wasn't willing to just do talk therapy. He's like, I'll do talk therapy if you also take meds. And at the time I wasn't ready to take medication. I just needed an outlet. I just needed to talk to someone. Um, so the our options that are covered under the actor insurance, the AFBS insurance, um, weren't suited to me, And then I had another shrink who was so uh, starstruck. Like he couldn't get past the fact that I was an actor and he was clearly a movie buff, and that's all he talked about. And I'm like, I'm paying you to talk about other my stuff, and here you are asking about movies.
Bless you.
So it took me a long time to find someone that worked, and then once I found her, all of a sudden my insurance is telling me that they don't cover her because she's a counselor, you know?
Wow.
So we need to make, yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Like, it's like the dentist is covered. You go to the eye doctor, it's covered. You get a massage, that's covered. You go to the physio or the osteopath, it's covered. But you want talk therapy with a
Hmm.
counselor, it's not covered.
But the thing is, medication is just putting a plaster over the wound, isn't it? It's not actually fixing it.
Yeah.
It's just
And
covering
the
it
thing is
up.
because you need both. You
Mhm.
really need both. Like if you're someone who needs medication, and again, no shame around that because I've been on medication. You can't. There's no point just doing the medication. You still need talk therapy.
Yeah.
But I think you should start with talk therapy because sometimes, like at least for me, it was like situational anxiety. I I the talk therapy would have done wonders for me.
Yeah.
Um, So I think they go hand in hand, but doing, medication without being followed by a professional, I think is it like you said, it's a band-aid solution.
Mm. Which is great
But
about Mind.
accessibility is a big thing.
Yeah, which is great about
Go
Mind
ahead.
because obviously their website is literally your one place to get all your resources for people who to talk to. They've got telephone numbers, and it's just great because when you're lost and you don't know where to go, who to talk to, that can make a situation worse. So the fact that there is a place where you can go and get
Mm.
help, I think is fantastic. Kimberly, I'm looking at time. Our time is up. Thank you
Oh my
so
God.
much. I know. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. Look after
Thank
yourself, keep
you.
safe, and enjoy the little one. And I would say get some sleep because ever since I had kids, I've realised that sleep is so overrated or underrated. Underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah, underrated. I don't even know. I don't even get sleep, Kimberly.
Yeah,
Literally, I go to
I get
bed.
you.
I go
From
to bed and
one
I say to
sleepless
my
head
wife,
to
"Good luck."
another.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Look after yourself. Keep safe.
Thank
And we'll
you.
speak again soon. Thank you.
Amazing. Good luck with your fundraiser.
Thank you. So yeah, so that is the first guest down for the fundraiser for this charity stream for Mind, and we've got 5 more guests. So I could see you commenting. If you've got any questions for the guests, please comment on the videos that you're watching right now, and I can bring them on screen. And don't forget to donate either by super chats, by the link on the Just Giving page. I just wanted to give a shout out before I bring my next guest up to Julia Palouse for donating $4.99 to Mind. Thank you so much. Also, Brandon, hello. I hope you're all right. So please comment, share this with your friends. But we've got a great guest coming up right now. As I'm doing this, I'm bringing up all the information I want to speak about, because this is going to be an awesome guest and I cannot wait. He is a legendary puppeteer. He has worked on so many projects from my childhood and more, and he's got a new book coming out. Let's get him on. Is Mr. Dave Barkley. Dave, hopefully this will work, and let me just get you on. Let's see. There you are.
Yes.
Let me turn your mic down, because technology tonight, I'm literally hoping for the best. But how are you, Dave?
I'm doing very well. Yes, I'm currently in California, Burbank, California. I moved here 25 years ago, and it's not as cold as it is in England, so I'm enjoying that.
No. Do you know what? Today I had to scrape the ice off the car and warm it up this morning for at least 20 minutes. So anyone from the West Coast in America right now, you don't realize how lucky you are until you've experienced a cold British winter. But thank you so much for coming on to the show. And we've caught you because you are traveling back over the pond, I hear, back over to the UK. So are you permanently located in the US, or is it a case of you fly from both sides of the pond?
Well, yes. I mean, I think most of the last 25 years, I've spent most of my time in the US working on American projects. But I always go back as often as I can to England to get a sense of usually the cold weather, the rain, the snow, and a sense of reality. So seeing my friends and family. So yeah, I'm sort of coming back just for a few days before Christmas, and then back out here for family Christmas in Burbank. So.
Oh, awesome. I mean, I've got to say, I'm really excited, because literally Labyrinth is mine and my wife's one of our favorite movies of all time. And, you know, you've got so many stories to tell, so many projects that you've been on, and it's about right that you put it in a book, which I personally can't wait to read, because I love reading about the industry behind the camera. So, for example, Vic Armstrong, great stunt performer. I've got his book, I've got it signed and everything like that. But we will talk about the book in a second. But you're a second generation puppeteer. So what's your earliest memory of thinking, this is where I belong?
Well, yes, I was. My parents were originally actors who met at RADA, and when they got married, they wanted to work together, which really wasn't possible as actors, because they were always cast separately. So they decided to set up their own puppet company, and it exploded. It was very successful right from the get-go, and I hadn't yet gone to school. So when they were doing shows, there wasn't anything like childcare back in those days, and grandparents weren't available. So I went with them on the shows. So my first job with them was pulling the curtains open inside the puppet booth while they were doing the show, and then closing them when they changed scenes, and then opening again. I stood there quietly when I was like 4 years old, 5 years old, part of the puppet show, and I was very professional. I took it very seriously, and so yeah, becoming the third puppeteer when I was a very young child was my first introduction into puppetry and my first love of puppetry.
And I've got to mention, let me bring up the book, the cover for the book, because it's got a very young you Here we are. Are those your puppets?
They belonged to me. They're my Christmas presents, but they were made by a company called Pelham Puppets. And Pelham Puppets made string marionettes for kids from after the Second World War. A guy called Bob Pelham brought up all these excess army surplus pieces of wood and everything that were going to be manufactured into other things, and assembled them into puppets and sold them. And so I loved them. I loved the string puppets when I was a kid. My mum and dad were more traditional glove puppeteers, but I loved the string puppets. So this is me at age 7 operating my 2 marionettes.
Do you know what? I've got to say, I love the string puppets as well, because when I used to be many moons ago a redcoat at Butlins. And a lot of people in the US or Canada, if they're watching this, won't even know what I'm talking about. They'll hear the word redcoat and think of something else completely. But we used to have a puppet castle, and we used to do puppet shows. And it was the traditional string puppets. And it's a lot harder than you think it's going to be. But you know what? Fast forwards, because people are going to think, okay, we're talking about puppets. Where is this going to go? You, sir, have had an incredible career, a legendary career, because not only have you worked on Labyrinth, Star Wars, so many projects. I've got here, you had a chance encounter with Mark Hamill, Mr. Luke Skywalker, that changed everything. So what exactly happened on that day?
Well, the shortish version of it, because it's quite a long, involved story, which you can read in the book. The shortest story was I was actually working at Hamley's Toy Store, the big famous London toy store on Regent Street, selling the same Pelham puppets that are on the front cover of my book to people. I was 18 years old. It was a summer job. Mark Hamill came in to buy a whole bunch of Pelham puppets for his personal collection, because at that time he was a puppet collector. And he inquired about, could somebody build a Darth Vader marionette for his private collection, carved wooden, 18 inches tall? And I said yes. And he actually commissioned me 6 months later to make this puppet. When it was complete, he invited me to Elstree Studios, where he was filming The Empire Strikes Back. This would now be June 1979. And I presented the puppet to him. He was very happy with it, and he said, would I like to meet Stuart Freeborn, who was the makeup supervisor on The Empire Strikes Back? I said, yes, please. He was one of my heroes. So I got to meet Stuart. A week later, Stuart offered me a job on the Yoda build team.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, just the right place at the right time. Who knew selling toy string puppets in Hamleys would get me onto Star Wars?
Isn't it great when things like that happen, where you look back and you think that, if you hadn't have served him or spoke to him, things would have changed completely. I mean, when you started working on Star Wars, coming into it, did you realize how much it would have changed your life? At that point, working for Stuart Freeborn?
Well, at the time, I mean, I had got into filmmaking. I was doing prosthetic makeup, so I was kind of wanting to go more in the special effects makeup world, because at that point, animatronics actually hadn't started. It's kind of what I wanted to do deep down, but there wasn't any work in animatronics because it hadn't been invented yet for films. And so I got my break into Star Wars, and I was a big Star Wars fan. So this was amazing for me. But I had no expectations of where it would go. I thought it might just be one-off. When I first discovered I was working on Yoda, I had no idea who Yoda was, how it worked in the film. I did get to work with the amazing Frank Oz, who was just astonishing. But I never expected these years later, it's 46 years later or something like that, that the world is still entranced by Yoda and that work that Frank and the rest of us did to bring Yoda to life. And so I'm so grateful to have been part of that very first ever animatronic movie character, because it was the passion for the job that I wanted. That before I got that initial job, it didn't exist.
I mean, we see this magic on screen and we see what we see like as something incredible. Like, for example, Jabba the Hutt. We see this incredible character, which I can't believe at one point was going to be just a normal man. And then obviously they've changed it to this beautiful big creature. Why I say beautiful is just the work that's been put into it to make it look that epic. I mean, you also was involved in bringing Jabba the Hutt to life. I mean, what experience was that like? Because I've got visions of so many people inside moving stuff. I mean, were you inside and how cramped was it?
Yes, well, there were basically mainly two of us inside, which was myself and my good friend Toby Philpott. I was doing Jabba's right hand. With my left hand, I was doing his jaw. The jaw was opening and closing his mouth and was doing the voice on set. I was what they call the chief puppeteer. So I was in charge of a team of puppeteers operating Jabba. And that was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. It was the first time I was chief puppeteer on a movie. I had worked on Empire Strikes Back assisting Yoda and then taken over from Frank Oz as chief Yoda puppeteer when he had to leave. I was also puppeteering on the Dark Crystal, but this was the first time I was chief puppeteer in charge of a movie character, and it was a Star Wars film, and I was 24 years old. And because of all the experience of doing shows with my mum and dad from the age of 4 upwards, I wasn't scared of performing, and I was used to their focus on acting and bringing characters to life through acting. So that was my intent, was to try and find Jabba's character. And Toby and I had a meeting with George Lucas and Richard Marquand about Jabba's character. And then that was spread amongst the other puppeteers. So Toby and I were inside Jabba. We had Mike Edmonds doing the mechanical tail. And then outside we had Bob Keane and John Coppinger doing radio control for Jabba's eyes and all his sneers and everything. We had Mike Osborne making his stomach breathe. So we had all these different puppeteers and performers working together seamlessly to bring Jabba to life.
That is incredible. It really is, because you don't think about how much work is done behind the scenes to bring these characters to life. And then not only if that Star Wars is amazing enough, but then we turn to Jim Henson's workshop. And I've actually been lucky enough to actually go to the workshop at Elstree many moons ago, probably about 25 years ago. So that was at Elstree Film Studios, not the TV one. It was at the film one. I mean, what was that like? Because again, the Dark Crystal, another iconic, film. I mean, what was that like to work under Jim Henson compared to, say, Star Wars?
Yes, well, Jim was
Oh, I think Dave, I think we're losing you. I think the internet gods from across the pond might be playing a few tricks. So for everyone watching, I do apologize. I you know what? I was crossing my fingers. Dave, if you're still there, if I could just get you to sign out and then sign back in again, and hopefully that will improve the connection. So as you can imagine, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. Oh, he's coming back in. So let me get Dave back in. Hello, you're here. Sorry, it froze. It froze.
This is very stable. So I'm doing it on a desktop Windows machine that hasn't had a problem so far. But now it looks like I'm freezing again.
Oh no, you're fine on my screen. I promise.
Okay.
So Jim Henson, I mean, it must have been incredible to work under him.
Yes, well, I worked with Frank on Empire Strikes Back with Yoda, and at the end of that, Frank said they were going to start working on the Dark Crystal. So I became the very first British maker to be involved on Dark Crystal. So I started in November 1979, and we had a whole year to do research and development so that we could understand how the characters could play. And there's no made before. There was no YouTube. There was no how to do these characters. This was just brand new technology.
Yeah. I mean, with all your stories and everything that you have done in your career, you've decided to release a book. And I want to talk about this book, My Life with Animatronics, which is available. And I've got the link on the description of the video. It's available signed from Cool Waters Productions. And also it'll be available from the conventions that you're going to be attending. So what encouraged you to actually put pen to paper and actually tell, all your stories, to the masses? Oh, I don't know if he's there again. I think we're having a few issues live right now. But while we're looking at getting him back, just to let you know, the book My Life with Animatronics is available on Cool Waters Productions website. It comes signed. It's the only place that you can get it signed. So please get that book signed from Cool Waters Productions. So what I was saying, Dave, is that having all your stories in a book must have been incredible to go over your career. I mean, how did you choose your stories to go into the book?
Well, interestingly, that was one of the things that I was initially worrying about. How on earth am I going to write about these? I mean, I could write just almost telephone directories about the various different films. And then I realized that when I read autobiographies, I get very fed up when there's just a few images in the middle of the pages. So with my book, I decided it would be just full of photographs of, wrong way, full of photographs from all the different movies that I've worked on. And one of those stories that I'm telling has a photograph to reference it. So so you actually see what I'm talking about when you're reading the book. So it makes complete sense.
That is awesome. And I was just telling the audience that the only place you can get it signed to buy is on the Cool Water Productions website. But also you're going to be bringing them to conventions as well, which I can't wait to get my hands on one to read, because I'm, more fascinated with what happens behind the camera sometimes than in front, because I think that's where the real magic happens. So if you could choose sort of a story out of the book that you're looking forward for audiences to maybe read, what story would that be?
Oh, there's so many, but one of my favorite ones was when I was called by producer Robert Watts. He produced Indiana Jones, the Star Wars films, and said there may be 1 or 2 days for me on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This was going.
Oh, I think we've lost you again. This is and he is gone. So I'm sure he's going to come back in a second, and the internet gods are literally hello, Dave. This is, do you know what? I knew this was going to happen live, for me, because technology and me do not get on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm checking my internet. Everything seems really good this end. So, but
yeah,
I don't know why.
It could be the weather. Let's blame it on the weather. The British weather is interfering. So yeah, you were saying about the story that you're looking forward for people to actually read.
Yes, and that was Roger Rabbit, because I was supposedly going to do 1 or 2 days on the film, and just myself, and it turned into having a crew of 17 puppeteers, and we were on every single day of the shoot. and I was developing and creating all the interactive rigs that we puppeteered to move the props and have the cartoons interact with the actors in real time.
Oh, that must have been incredible. I mean, looking back, on all these iconic films, I mean, have you kept anything as like a memento? Have you kept anything from set from any of the films?
Yes, I've kept a few things, and one of the things I'm working on right now is when I originally designed, built, and then performed the marionette version of Sir Didymus on Labyrinth. I created two versions with the approval of Jim and the Creature Shop, one for myself and one for the movie. I got about 3/4 of the way through making my Sir Didymus when I had to stop doing him and just focus on finishing the puppet for the filming. So I put it in a box. 41 years later, I decided to take him out of the box, and it's all the original fur, the original costume, the original everything. And I'm now assembling him to be a full Sir Didymus marionette.
Wow. And talking about Labyrinth, I mean, what a film! What an incredible show of puppetry and great work around the builds of all these puppets. And David Bowie will always be, for me, one of the greatest things about that film as well. Have you got any like short stories about working on Labyrinth? Because I know my wife would absolutely love to hear anything that you've got to say about that film.
Well, David Bowie was a delight. When you imagine he was one of the biggest pop superstars, we expected he would have an entourage, and we'd met other sort of celebrities. Oh, you mustn't look the celebrity in the eye, even though we were working with them. David Bowie was the opposite. He was the most down to earth. He drove himself in his own car, and he was like all the other cast and crew. He was just delightful. And the very first evening after we shot the very first day of Jareth filming on Labyrinth, he took all the puppeteers to the Elstree bar and bought everyone a drink. So he bought me a pint of Guinness.
Oh, bless him. And it's quite nice to hear that he drove himself, because do you remember a puppet called Orville? Keith Harris and Orville. Do you remember
Yes.
Orville? Yeah. So I've actually worked with them before.
I
and
remember.
yeah, and Orville had his own car. Believe it or not.
Joking.
No. So they had two Mercedes, one for Keith Harris and one for Orville.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
so
I think that you can take the of the puppets to some. I always just put them in a box.
put them in a box in the boot. But you know what? We are running out of time, Dave. It's been lovely to talk to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get a copy of your book. And I'm going to do a review of it. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to put it on my socials as well, because I love hearing stories, especially from films that mean so much to my generation, from Star Wars to Labyrinth to Fraggle Rock. Do you know what I mean? They're all fantastic. So. I know we had problems with the internet, but thank you so much for coming onto the show live to talk about your book, because I know Cool Water Productions, I've got the signed copies available on their website, and I know that they do sell international, so I'll be making my order very, very soon. But Dave, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Keep safe and have a safe journey back over. And I do apologise about the weather in advance. It's not very nice.
Yes, again, sorry we had this connection mishap. So
yeah,
I will check this end, but it might. Well, yes, everything else seems to be working fine. But anyhow,
right. Look after yourself. Keep safe, my friend. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Cheers.
Right. So that is the wonderful Dave Barclay. And we are going to be inviting our next guest on, our third guest of the night. And you know what? I just hope to the internet gods that the internet stays okay. You know, my kids have been banned from all devices in the house to try and get this internet stable. But thank you so much for watching this stream. Remember, it's for the mental health charity Mind. Get onto the link on the description of this video, donate, and you know, the next guest you're going to be very excited for, because not only was he in one of the world's biggest viewed shows in history, but he's also voicing one of my favorite characters of all time. And this is going to be officially a first for Be More Super, because I've had so many guests from so many different Superman franchises. And finally, I'm going to be speaking to the man that's putting his voice to the man in the cape. But before we get him onto the show and welcome him live, let's have a look at him in action in Stranger Things. That's if I press the right button, and I'm going to press it right now.
Hey, you owe me $1.20. Don't worry, he'll need more than aspirin when we're done with him.
Yeah, if the creep ever gets out, the cops should just lock him up forever. Did you see the look on his face?
You probably had the same look whenever he killed his brother, right?
Oh, God. I just got an image of him making that face while he and Nancy are screwing.
Carol, for once in your life, shut your damn mouth.
What?
Hey, what's your problem, man?
You're both assholes. That's my problem.
Are you serious
Yeah,
right now,
I'm
man?
serious. You shouldn't have done that.
Done what?
You know what?
You mean call her out for what she really is? Oh, that's funny, because I don't remember you asking me to stop.
I should have put that spray paint right down your throat.
What the hell, Steve?
You know, neither of you ever cared about her. You never even liked her. Because she's not miserable like you two. She actually cares about other
The
people.
slut with the heart of gold.
I told you to watch your mouth.
Hey! I don't know what's gotten into you, man, but you don't talk to her that way.
Get out of my face.
Or what? Or what? You gonna fight me now, too? Huh? You gonna fight me now, too? Because you couldn't take Jonathan Byers. So I wouldn't recommend that. Let me get the door for you, buddy. That's right. Run away, Stevie boy. Run away! Just like you always do. And Nancy's turning you into a little pussy. That's right, Harrington. Run away! Run away!
Oh, it is Chester rushing. Let's get him onto the screen right now. There we go, Chester. And I can't hear you. I can't hear you. No. Yeah, I can't hear you for some bizarre reason. And no. Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I had the wrong input selected. I'm sorry. The internet. When is it ever an issue? You know?
Oh, do you know what? Do you know what? When I need the internet, it works. When I don't need it, well, anyway, thank you so much for coming onto the show. So excited. Not only Stranger Things, one of the biggest shows in history, but also high volume DC.
Oh, yeah.
Superman.
That's true.
Oh. So let me get up what I'm going to be asking you, because literally I have been writing questions and you know what? I'm looking at all these questions going, right, I've got you for half an hour, Chester. How on earth am I going to fit all these in? So literally, let's start from the beginning. But before I do, if anyone wants to ask Chester any questions whatsoever, comment below and we can get the question on the screen for him to... Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading. I'm a man. I can't do two things at once. I don't know about you, Chester. I mean, you're really young, so you'll probably have got the brain cells to do like four things at once. But like, I'm reading this now.
Very kind of you. Well, thank you so much for having me. And Brian, and of course, everybody that's watching on your devices, thank you so much for being a part of this. Remember to give to charity if you can, and thank you so much for giving your time while you're here. And I know 30 minutes, it's quite a feat. I mean, once I get talking, I'm like, oh, an hour went by, 5 hours went by. I don't know. You're such a cool person to hang out with, so I'm grateful to be able to spend my time with you. And DC High Volume. I'm now the voice of Superman for DC High Volume, and those episodes will be airing towards Thanksgiving. And then we're planning on doing a little bit more, it seems. So I'll be donning the cape a few more times. And yeah, Stranger Things, one of the biggest shows in the world. It's super crazy. When I booked that, there was still Blockbuster and Redbox. I don't know if you knew Redbox. So you could go. I mean, there's still some Redboxes, but you can go to. It was back when you had to go to a video store to rent a video. There was like one streaming service, and it was Netflix.
I used to work at Blockbusters when I was younger. Literally, I was
really?
there rewinding VHSs and stuff like that. So, I can remember those days. But let's talk Stranger Things, because believe it or not,
Sure.
I watched it when it came out, and I'm obsessed with it. My wife never watched it, and I've actually got her to watch it, and we binged all the seasons in one go. Ready, because in 7 days' time, the new season is out, the final one. So you play Tommy H in the show, which I quite like. I like Tommy H. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't know, he's a bit of a douche. But I quite like him. I've got a picture coming up on the screen. There you are.
Hey, there I am. Look at me. I'm a little
So
dude.
when you auditioned and got this role, did you realize, back then, how big this show was going to be?
I thought it was going to be great. I had a feeling something magic was happening because on set, it was just electric. Everybody was wearing vintage clothes. All the haircuts were rocking. I'm a fan of D&D and the music and Spielberg style films. So I felt it was going to be amazing, but I don't think anybody plans for this level of success when it comes to a show. I think you kind of hope, oh, maybe I can get to a level and people will watch it. But to have it stick around and be such a show that people kind of keep going back to, it's an honor. It's a real honor for sure.
I mean, what has been your favorite scene to shoot? Because you've got so many special moments in season 1 and season 2. I mean, if you had to pick one and have it as your favorite, which one would it be and why?
It's a smaller scene because most of it kind of got cut out because they deemed it too funny. It was the scene where we're all in the cafeteria and we're like eating lunch together. It's Steve, Nancy, Carol, and I. And I just remember the director going, hey, you're so funny. Do whatever you want. And I almost started a food fight. But I just remember that was like when everyone was meshing. And it was right after Barb went missing. And I think I have the line like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And some people will walk up to me and be like, hey, you remember Barb? And I'll be like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And it's kind of so funny because thinking about it, it was almost 10 years ago. And it's just time flies so fast. Now I'm doing so much in the voiceover world for Netflix. And it feels so awesome to be able to stay working and to still be remembered.
Wow. Do you know, 10 years ago? That is crazy. And that's scary as well on how fast time flies. And you think, well, and people are still talking about it. Do you know what I mean? Which is great. Mm-hmm. I mean, when it came out, I mean, how bizarre is it for a performer like yourself? I mean, I was talking at work today to colleagues that it must be really crazy to be in such an enormous show. Yeah. Millions upon millions upon millions of viewers seeing your face, seeing you act, loving your character. How weird and obscure is that? And is it quite easy to sort of lose a bit of reality? Because it must be amazing, but at the same time, really bizarre.
I think it's incredible. I mean, whenever I saw it, it became the #1 show in the world in like 172 countries. And so I was watching myself in multiple languages, and it was just kind of amazing. It kind of started slow for me, the recognition. I'd be at the store and somebody would be like, "Did I go to school with you?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, "You're the guy." And I would just be like, "Yeah, I'm the guy." That's pretty cool. But for me, the fame wasn't, or the accolades didn't come all at once, like the younger kids or somebody like Steve, for example. It kind of happened over time, and luckily it did, because I was just starting out working actor at the time, and whenever I got a show like this, it opened so many doors. It was kind of crazy, because towards season 2 there were people that would meet me, and I think this one person, I was doing a movie in Louisiana, and somebody came on set, and they were like, you're Chester," and they fainted, and I caught them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, it happens all the time. It never happened before, and it never happened again." But but it meant so much, and I was like, okay, maybe something's going on with this show. And it just led to a lot of really cool things. And if I could be a small part of something at all that makes somebody think or have a good evening, or inspires them in any way, that's my whole goal, really.
I mean, we're talking about 10 years ago and talking about the cast and the younger kids on there. I just find it hilarious where you see the promo images for the final season, and they all look like 35 with full on beards.
Yeah.
And they look like they've had 3 kids, and you know what I mean. It's literally it's great to see, and I'm not even talking about Millie Bobby Brown. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about the others. But I've got a question here
for
from
sure, like Caleb and Gaten.
I've got a low key lover girl. I loved your acting in season 1. What was it like working with the cast?
Oh, it was brilliant. They were so kind, and it was just a big love fest. Everybody was just really happy to make a show, and we were all really excited about the work we were creating, because we all really believed it was so cool. I think working with Gaten on season 1, I just saw something really special about them, and I was like, I think you're going to be a lot of people's favorites. And he was like, "Gee, you really think so?" Because he was like missing a tooth or something. And I was like, yeah, I really think so, buddy. And now he's like one of the sweetest kids. Voice of an angel, that one.
Yeah.
He's really great for his family. Like, he helps with his family, and he's just kind and humble. And I think that's one really cool trait about them all. But yeah, it's funny because I see them and they're like, "Chester, you haven't aged that much." And I'm like, thankfully. But I mean, from 21 to however old I am now, it's just like, you don't age as much as you do from 12 to 23, you know?
No. They've got full on beards, like, and it's great. Yeah. And it must be a nightmare for
great.
For
I'm like, man, how do I do that? I've still been growing mine for 3 years. It didn't even.
And we've got a good evening from Germany. We've got someone watching in from Germany, Nick Nem. Good evening. Very good evening. I think it's probably about 9 o'clock at night there. So
Guten Nacht?
Yeah, guten Tag. Guten Tag? Ich heiße Brian, wie heißt du? I don't know.
Oh,
and why am I putting on an accent
when great.
when I'm saying it?
I think.
Do you know what? I can only remember from Cabaret. I don't know if you know the musical Cabaret.
Oh, Cabaret. Yeah.
I played Clifford Bradshaw in that production, and we had to go, "Welkom, we haben du welkom, fremde étranger, stranger, glücklich, just wie schon der." And that's all I can remember, because it was many moons ago. It was longer than 10 years ago, Chester. So you're not only a wonderful actor on screen on one of the world's most popular shows, but you're also a voiceover actor, a musician.
Yeah.
I mean, how did this journey start for you? Was it an instant thing, or can you tell us a bit about the graft it took to get to where you are now?
They say, like, success, people think it's like a straight up arrow, right? But it's more like a zigzaggy, like it's more like, wow, I found myself. Thankfully, oh my gosh, I lost myself. Oh, I found myself. It's kind of an amazing thing. when I first started out, my family really supported my acting. I started doing like magic on the street to kind of make some money to buy my first guitar when I was like
Really?
14, 15. Yeah, I was doing magic at restaurants at like 15. I'd and then I didn't really have a lot of money to go to like acting school. Um, so I swept the floors of my acting school and in exchange for classes, and I would drive like an hour away, and then they scholarship me in, and I started helping to teach the kids, and then after a while, like that led to me getting an agent, and then I auditioned for Stranger Things, and they called me, and I just remember I was bussing tables at a Mexican cantina, and I'm Hispanic, by the way, Hispanic and American, and I was cleaning enchiladas off of tables, and they called me and they were like, "Hey, would you like to come to the table read?" I went to Atlanta, met everybody. When I came back, you know, it was just such a life-changing experience. They called me and said, "Yeah, hey, we'd love if you could be a part of the show." We did the first season. I was in Atlanta. You know, and then after that, I worked for a few years in different things. I did stunts. I've done driving stunts. I've been punched in the face by Liam Hemsworth on set. I've
Wow.
which is a it's kind of a badge of honor. He's the Witcher now.
He
you
is,
know.
yeah. Really good,
Um
actually. I I
he's
I
actually really
I
good.
enjoyed him as a Witcher.
Yeah. And and then I was doing some films out in Los Angeles, and then lockdown happened. I had been trying to do voiceover for years, like 4 years of auditioning with zero opportunities coming to fruition. Lockdown happened. I moved back to Texas from Los Angeles, and I was in sort of a state of like, wow, I've lost all my jobs. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Um, and then I got an opportunity to read for a role at Nickelodeon called Big Nate on Paramount. And I got hired as a day player. I bought my mic, I bought my stuff, I padded out my room, and I was like, "Hey, this is Zeph. Hello, hello, hello." And then I was like, "This is Wink Summers." And they allowed me to stay on that show for almost 4 years. The entire time I had a job from my closet. I was working remotely at Nickelodeon, and it was how I found out I had the skill of being a voice artist, and I really honed it in every single day. I had nothing really else to do except for stay home and do voices. And I just practice sound design, practice voices. And then now it's kind of become my bread and butter. I'm leading the Mighty Monster Wheelies on Netflix, which has become the #1 kids show in Canada when it aired, and top 3 in the United States for children's media on Netflix. And it's just super, super special. We're still working on that show and working on a few more things that'll be out in 2027, 2028. So that's really wild. Animation takes a while, but it's so rewarding.
But it's really nice to hear, because a lot of people during the pandemic wanted to give it a go, and you're a prime example of having the talent and being able to do it properly and making a career out of it. Because it's one thing grabbing a microphone and then
Right.
reading a script, but you've got to have that talent. You've got to have something about you to actually make it work. I mean, with voiceover, if you had to make a choice between acting in front of the camera or doing voice only forever, which one
Forever?
would you choose? Yeah, forever.
I would say voices, because here's the gray area. Somebody like Andy Serkis, who is a voice and you don't see their face, but they're able to be, Gollum from Lord of the Rings or the Planet of the Apes or something like that. And I think the more technology advances, the more opportunities voiceover people will be able to, with their skill, kind of, I guess, find their way into on camera, so to speak. But I love being on camera. And guess what? I get to go to work in sweatpants, and that's not bad.
You have got the ultimate work from home job, where
Yes, I
literally you
do.
can wake up in the morning. But I mean, obviously,
Or
being a
or the
voice
afternoon.
actor. Yeah, oh, yeah, the afternoon. Being a voice actor, though, you've got to look after yourself because your voice is
Yeah.
everything. So, have you got
yeah.
like a routine in place? Are there certain things that you avoid that could affect your throat? I mean, tell
Sure.
us everything.
It really depends. Like the other day, I was doing this military game, and I came home, and my voice was just completely shot, and then I had to keep working. When I got home, and it was like I needed some tea. But I also have a machine called a nebulizer, which is like it has like this salt water that turns into mist, and I have to like stay on that for an hour just to get the moisture back into my throat, and just like some days of silence. But really, I think one of the hardest things is that, sometimes you're like in a voiceover booth for 3, 4, 6 hours a day. And sometimes my booths have been my closet with no AC. So in the Texas heat of 114 degrees, it can
Wow.
suck pretty fast. But I always remember why I'm doing it, and that reinforces my want to do it.
I don't think I've ever experienced that heat. We're in the UK, so it's always damp, wet, and cold. So I suppose that is the polar opposite. And you know what? I've got visions of you with that nebulizer on, just doing Darth Vader
Oh
impressions.
yeah. Oh yeah. Luke, get me some tea, please.
I am your father.
I am your father.
And then, I want to talk about.
am your father. I don't know.
I want to talk about this character here.
Yeah.
Which I've chosen this because this is by one of my favorite artists that draws that does Superman.
Yeah.
It's called Jorge Jimenez, who I met in Chicago last year. Amazing artist, and you're going to be voicing Superman. So how did this role come about for you? Because for me, Chester, I have interviewed so many people from the Superman world, from the original movies to Superman and Lois, but I've never had a chance to actually interview Superman himself. So you are officially, Chester, my first Superman on Be More Super, that is the reason why it got called Be More Super from Superman. So how did you get the role, first of all?
Well, thank you so much. It's amazing to even be talking about this. I'm glad they released the information that I was going to be voicing Soups at New York Comic Con. And originally, I heard from the company that there was going to be, this audition. They were going to have, everybody try out. So I'm very fortunate to be able to bring life to my favorite superhero, Superman, Clark. And yeah, I mean, we're working alongside Troy Baker from The Last of Us, as well as some other amazing people. I read for everybody. I read for cops. I've read for Nightwing. I read for the Joker. I read for all these things, and I was like, it would be amazing to do like Robin or something, or Nightwing or something. And they were like, we actually like you for Superman. And I was like, wait, what? And for a few days, and I saw the image. I mean, I love this image. And then I saw some of the iconic Superman, comic books where he's a little older and he's working at the Daily Planet. And I thought that was like a special thing. And it kind of made me hyperventilate. After I got the news, I think I just kind of cried because I couldn't believe it. And then when I got into the booth, I did the work, I did it, and they've said, people from DC were like, we absolutely love your voices, Soups. This meant so much to us for so many different reasons. And there was just hearts and hearts and hearts in the Zoom meeting chat. And I knew I had done something quite substantial because they worked with Kevin Conroy and some people I really admire in so many different ways. And just to be able to bring it Justice League, meant so much to me. Honestly, it's just unbelievable. So I'm really excited to see, how people respond to it when it's out. And I put all the heart I could into it. And, we'll see if there's more.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to listen to it. I really can't. I mean, with your voice career, I mean, we always have these dreams and hopes of when we start out, with our careers or what we want out of life. I mean, with your voice career, have you got aspirations of where you want to get to with it? Like who you want to work with, what you want to work on? You know, can you share anything like that with us?
Truthfully, it has been such an amazing surprise to hear the opportunities that they've said yes to me doing, because I think everybody wants to be a superhero, right? I think at some point in their life, most people are like, I'd love to have a superpower. And I guess mine is to, with my heart, I get to embody all these different types of characters. And some of them I would have never expected. I mean, who gets the call that says you're going to voice Superman, right? I mean, it's not very few of us. Over almost 100 years, there hasn't been that many of us that have been able to do that, step into that role. And now I'm like in the league of Supermen. So like I was talking to some of the other people who have played Superman like on TV, and they were like, "Congrats!" And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
That's it. You're going to be in group photos now with people like Brandon Routh, Darren Criss, who I met in Chicago, that does the voice as well for the animated
Brandon
series.
was the one that I'm talking about. They actually DM'd me. They were like, "Congratulations!"
Oh, bless him. He's lovely. He's such a nice guy. Really is.
He looks like Superman. I
He
mean, I'm
does.
like, wow, man. I'm built like Frodo Baggins, so I'm glad I have a voice.
That's a great thing. That is a great thing about voice work. You can be whatever you want to be, which is great. I wanted to touch on the fact that this charity stream that I'm doing over 3 hours is for the UK mental health charity Mind, which, you know, is being a stigma, I would say, in the UK. I don't know what it's like where you are, but especially for men, especially for us having to deal with things and everything like that. I mean, with your career, with your ups and downs, because, you know, it's never plain sailing. I mean, have you got anything in place to support your own mental health, and how do you deal with it that potentially could, you know, help others hearing that?
I think for me, anyway, it is just, you know, because I come from a generation where my dad, you know, he's a military veteran, and, you know, he comes from an older generation. So talking about mental health with him is a new thing. And with my own self, it's kind of, I've had to teach myself these practices, like remembering to kind of go on a walk sometimes, or take things easy, maybe take some deep breaths, try to meditate a few times a week. But I think it comes down to for me, my support system, like my wife, Ava. She's been so awesome. We've been together for 12 years now, and ever since I was a busboy. And you know, they've seen the ups and downs of this, and I think for a long time, I tried to kind of find ways to find myself, and I realized, be kind to yourself if you can, because sometimes I know for me, I was my own worst critic on a lot of ways and a lot of things. So if you can just remember to kind of be kind to yourself, then you can inherently make the world more kind.
And I think that's key, isn't it? Is that we just need to be nicer. The world is a terrible place at the moment. We turn on the news and all we see is negativity. I've always said, wouldn't it be great to have a news channel that's just dedicated to great stories? You know, great news.
Good news.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be nice. It would,
I would watch that
it
all
would
the
lift
time.
our spirits. So, I mean, with obviously Stranger Things, you know, coming out in a week's time, are you still a fan? Are you still watching it? And are you as excited as the rest of the world?
Actually, I am. I am very excited for this new season because it's kind of coming full circle. I think we have a party planned at the voiceover studio that I go to in Dallas. On the sound stage, they're gonna play we're gonna all get together and watch the first 2 episodes together and have like a pizza party at the place I do the voiceovers. So it's gonna be kind of amazing on a big theater with cool sound. So I'm really excited for that. And for everybody that's supported over the years, like you, Brian, and all the people at home or wherever you are, I really thank you so much for watching the show and helping make it what it is. because if it wasn't for all of you watching, the show wouldn't have gone anywhere. So I'm really grateful that you've given us all a chance and welcomed the little art that we've done in our show into your lives, and made a big nerd like me able to have a career I could only ever dream about.
And it's funny you say Dallas, a wonderful place. I've been there. I've seen the Mavericks play. I absolutely love the place. Just quickly before we bid farewell, because I'm looking at the time, did you manage to steal anything from set from Stranger Things?
You know, that one I didn't, but I did get to take home a lifetime full of memories.
Oh, what? You know what? You pan the camera around and there's going to be like lights on the wall and everything like that. But Chester, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's an absolute honor. And in the future, I'd love to get you on to talk to you a lot more in depth, because looking at the questions, I've just skimmed it. Because we only had a limited amount of time. So I'd love to get you on in the future for an in-depth conversation.
Yes.
But thank you so much.
You.
Oh, that'll be brilliant.
And for everybody that's watching, remember to donate to Mind, donate to the charity if you have the ability to do that. And at the end of the day, just remember to please be kind to yourself just a little bit more. And remember to do something nice for yourself this week if you can, because you're awesome and you deserve to be happy.
And that is a wonderful message. And if you can't donate, just be nice to someone. Just be kind. Be kind. That is the best donation that you can do if you can't afford anything for this wonderful charity. But Chester, I bid you farewell. I cannot wait to hear your tones as Superman in high volume.
Thanks, Brian.
Coming very, very soon. I'm very, very excited. But look after yourself, keep safe, and stay super. Right, so that is interview number 3 down for this live stream. So thank you so much to Chester Rushin from Stranger Things. And we've got another great guest that's in the green room right now. I'm making it sound really posh, green room. So I can't believe I'm doing this 3 hours and I can't even go to the toilet. So we're going to invite this next guest on. But before we do, we're going to see her in action. And I'm really, really excited. And hopefully I press the right button. So here we go.
Looks like they were trying to turn life support systems back on again.
The doors closed on them deliberately.
Commander Burnham, Commander Nunn, you're on with the captain. Commander, what is Ariam doing?
Trying to restore Admiral Cornwall's access to control.
No, she's not. Stop her. Now!
What the hell was that?
Let's get the guest on. She is from Star Trek Discovery, and I've got you on. Honestly, do you know what, Rachel? I've had so many issues with internet, with sound, with camera. Honestly, please say you can hear me, and I'm coming through okay.
You are. You sound terrific.
Wonderful. Oh, thank goodness.
Okay?
Thank goodness. Thank you so much for coming onto the show, and I'm so excited because when we talk about Trekkies, I'm not like a traditional Trekkie. So I didn't watch the originals, even though I did go shoe shopping with Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura in the originals. Yes, I had to look after her for the day in Bluewater in Kent. She came for a signing, and I don't know if they didn't advertise it correctly, but not a lot of people came. So she wanted to go shopping, so I went shoe shopping with her, and she was the most adorable woman I could have met. She gave me a big kiss at the end and a signed book, and that's memories that will never fade. But Rachel, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's an absolute honor. We're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery. We're going to talk about Rookie Blue. We're going to talk about you. So first of all, for the audience, You know, how did you get into this mad industry of performing on screen? And can I just say, and I know it started in grade 6 in a suit pant outfit on stage, apparently. I listened to one of your previous interviews. I know. I do my research, Rachel. You know, so it started at grade 6, if I'm right in saying, in a pantsuit. But when was the moment that it all started for you officially?
I love that I think I said that one time in one interview that I wore pants and the other girl was in a dress, and I was like,
How
oh,
dare she?
that is so amazing that you knew that. 10 points for you.
Excellent.
When did it start for me? Okay, well, I thought for sure, I went to an arts high school and I thought for sure I'm going to get into drama, and they rejected me 3 times. So I don't even, it was sort of a whirlwind way into the industry, and I basically got sick of the corporate world and I was looking for an out. So of course I picked acting. Why not pick an art? All right. That won't give you any money at all. So I took a leap of faith but I was, a lot of people know this already. I wanted to be a police officer, and a month before my accident, a month before my police exam, I got into an accident and I broke my leg. So when people say to me, "Oh, break a leg," I'm like, I've already done that. So
tick. I've already done it. Yeah. So
right?
police,
Bucket list done.
the police. Wow. I mean, that is something that I wanted to do, but I ended up being a prison officer. So,
come on.
yeah, prison officer are youth offenders. So they're all like young. So they're a lot more volatile. So daily, I was hands on like 10 times. I got stabbed on my first shift. I got stabbed in the back. Right? Get this right. I didn't get stabbed with like a knife or anything like that. I got stabbed in the back with a fork.
They were checking to see if you were well done, or
Well, obviously. and then that unit was on plastic cutlery for the next month. Because I got
bet you don't
stabbed
use
in the back.
You probably don't use any plastic cutlery now, do you?
No.
That's
But you know
dangerous.
what? I thought, if that's the worst that can happen, I'm doing all right. But obviously it wasn't the worst that could happen. I've got so many stories, but you know what? It's not about me. It's about you. So when you started in this wonderful world of entertainment, did you have like a plan in place in what you wanted to achieve, who you wanted to work with?
Well, this is a shout out to where you are across the pond. The only person that I'd really truly be starstruck by is John Cleese. I've been a fan of his since I was a kid. PBS, watching Faulty Towers for my entire youth. So, I guess I did have a plan, but I didn't have a plan. I think because I didn't go to theater school, I had 2 post-secondary educations, one in law enforcement and the other in fashion design, because those 2 go so well together. And
You've got to look good while you're arresting people. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you got to bring some swag.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I kind of tried to learn things from the ground up. So I took crew jobs, and I did one background job on Cinderella Man, Russell Crowe's film, and I hated it. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. And so I started doing crew work, which is great. And just learning the ropes and trying to understand how this whole business worked. But I feel very fortunate because it just started snowballing, and I'm very fortunate to have the career that I have. So,
and let's talk about one of the roles that you've had, which I enjoyed, and I'm a massive fan of Star Trek Discovery. As I said, I never really saw any other Star Treks until this show, and I've been fortunate to have had Doug Jones on my show a couple of times, Wilson Cruz as well, which is so adorable, is unbelievable. He was my Christmas interview quite a few years ago. And such a great interview. I mean, with this show, I mean, how amazing was it to get the role? Because I know, I mean, I won't go into detail about the audition process, because you had to have the screen tests and the crimped hair and everything like that. So, but overall, I mean, getting a part on such a big franchise as Star Trek, I mean, what was that experience like for you and your family and your friends? Because it must have been a big deal.
It was huge. And my mom was such an original fan. Like, she was a fan of the original series as a kid. And you probably saw the story about how she wrote in when they were going to cancel the show and she was so upset. And my granddad tells this story about, like, she was so little
Good
and
for
she'd
her.
save up her. Yeah, right. And so I was so excited, and they were very much like, you can't tell anyone. And I'm wearing a red shirt, right? And it was on Discovery. And so I remember going to lunch with Doug the first day, and we were in sort of the main area of the studio. There was a bunch of other shows shooting, and we had to wear these like football style parkas that went over us and covered our shirts. And the first time even walking on that set, the set was so massive. I've been on big sets, but the fact that you could do a walk and talk and not have to walk back and forth down the same hallway was exceptional. And the green screen was like 3 stories high. I'd never seen a green screen that big. Like, the space was huge. And I remember even with Patrick, the first day I was on the bridge and going over to Patrick's station and being like, oh, wow, man, like on his screen, and like, do you touch this stuff? What do you do? And I was so taken by the whole ship. But the captain's chair, I think I was probably one of the only people that never sat in it. It was so intimidating to me that my last day I took a photo of me beside the chair because I had such respect for that chair. But that experience, especially for me, I wasn't much of a Star Trek fan before. Like, my mom, I watched the original series with her. But for me, the biggest thing was this was the closest I was going to be able to get to working with Lucille Ball, because without her, Star Trek would never have happened. And my last day, well, what I thought was my last day, I was reading the Desilu book, and I took a picture of it on my chair with my chair backing that said "Non" on it, and it's a real special memory. Yeah.
And I've got a picture of you here as your character. What an incredible look! I mean, the great thing about Star Trek, they don't disappoint with how they look and everything like that. And with Star Trek Discovery, what I liked was the storylines and how it challenged the norm. And I think even now it's still a voice to our generation on how to act and deal with things, and it's beautiful in that way. I mean, with this show, you have so many amazing moments on screen with so many amazing cast. Is there a moment that will always stay with you as sort of a place in your heart to think, do you know what, I can't believe that, I did this?
Yeah. There's so many. There's the last episode I was in with Doug Jones, and he and I are piloting a ship together, and that was my first experience with a VR wall. I don't know. I mean, all these memories stick with me, but this one was, I'd never seen a VR wall before. Green screen, sure, but not the VR wall. So not to have to imagine black holes colliding and just seeing them was amazing. And even more so when we're, in between takes, and then you see one of the crew walk by with a ladder. You're in this spaceship and there's black holes colliding, and then this guy comes walking by with a ladder. It was very funny. The turbo lift, that scene where David Benjamin Tomlinson, who plays Linus, his teeth come flying out of his mouth and we all crack up at 4 a.m. I will never forget that to this day, because it was so serious and it was so late and we were all so tired, and that moment. And I know David was mortified. He was mortified, but the rest of us, and Sneakwa cracked first. So if number 1 cracks first, then everybody else was like, oh, okay, we're going to just get a good chuckle. And it was amazing.
And what was about, what was it about Non that you really enjoyed portraying on screen? Because we are going to talk about Rocky Blue and your character on that show, because that character is quite intense, and the subject matter is quite an important piece to talk about. But with Non, I just think that the depth and the character arc is incredible for her. I mean, what was it like to portray her? I mean, how much of that character do you love to this day?
All of Non. I love her. She's so quiet and stoic and totally opposite to me. The only thing is this fierceness to protect her family or those people that she loves. That is very much me. But I love how organically sort of she grew. I mean, she was only supposed to be a 3-episode character. So the fact that I got more time with her, and even when I thought it was the end, I still got more time with her, was great. And the seed ship episode, like to have this other part of her show that no one had ever seen before because she wasn't really given the chance. It was nice to have that moment with Burnham, and I loved the non-Burnham dynamic. I love that, and the Saru I loved all the dynamics. I was very lucky. I got to work with such amazing people. All of it. All of it, Brian.
All of it, yes, all of it, not just one. I mean, with her costumes and her look, did you manage to take anything from set? I always ask my guests this because literally, I'm just like, Fagin from Oliver Twist. I would be like taking everything and putting them in bags, in my pockets, down my socks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you keep anything from set?
I was given stuff. So I was very lucky. I got to keep my badge, which is it's still
really.
Yeah, I was so lucky they gave that to me, and my chair backing, because that was the very first chair backing I had that had a character's name on it, and I was like, oh, can I have? And they were like, of course. So, and even when I went back, they had another chair backing for me, and I was so tempted to be like, oh, can I have that too? You're not going to use that again, eh? So.
Then that's really rare as well, because I've spoken to quite a few people that from the shows, and they never get a chance to take their badge, which is quite rare, which I suppose is one of the most important things. I mean, with this show, they come Trekkies, and we did mention earlier on about Trekkies. Trekkies are a passionate fan base, very passionate, and you've been to some conventions, I presume. How are those interactions? Do you get asked a lot of technical questions that you think, wow, how am I on earth going to answer these?
No, thank God.
Okay.
Thank God I wasn't a science officer. I was just security. It's great that I can fumble my way through. But at the conventions, the fandom are so amazing. I've been through some fandoms that have been they're a little tough, and I was welcomed with open arms and full hearts, and I probably annoyed a bunch of people at the conventions that just were like, can you just sign this flippin' picture? And I'd be like, how are you? Tell me about yourself. And I'd had these long conversations with people, and the lineup would start growing, and Tyler would be sitting beside me being like, okay, Rachel, come on. It's great you're chatting, but we got to keep it going, and I felt so loved, and I still do to this day. People are so incredibly kind in this fandom, and I think that's Star Trek too. It's community, and it's love. So I'm so grateful to have been a part of it. Yeah.
Do you know what? I got invited to a Star Trek convention in Blackpool for a meeting, and as I was walking around, because I would never normally go to a Star Trek convention, like just solely Star Trek, and I looked around, and you're right, you can feel the love, the community, and then I stood there and watched. And I couldn't believe an hour went by, and I was watching a presentation on how to speak Klingon. And I was like, they do this sort of stuff. This is crazy, but amazing at the same time. I just think it's just astonishing. It really is. I mean, what has been like the sort of the nicest or strangest interaction that you've had, with fans? I mean, have they brought gifts? Have they asked, is there any heartwarming stories that maybe you can share?
One of my favorite fans is from the UK, John. Special shout out to John. And John always sends me some really cool thing. I should have worn all of this stuff today. Next interview, okay? But he'll send me pins that are all Commander Non, or he made me like a Lego character that's like this big. That is Commander Non. Breathers and a little stun gun and everything. Like amazing. He is so kind. I've gotten mugs with my name on it, like with Non and my badge. I just so there's so many things, and it's so kind of people. I don't, the thought that goes into it is it's very heartwarming. It's amazing.
Well, to be honest, it's kind of set you up for life now, because there are stars from like the 60s that were in Star Trek that are still going to conventions. So even if you decide, you know what, I'm going to put up my feet, I'm not going to work anymore, you're sorted for conventions, which is great. Have you got any more planned? Are you coming over to the UK soon? I mean, we don't tend to get a lot of people over in the UK. I mean, have you got any planned coming up?
I would love to come to the UK. Half my family's over in Kent, actually. I noticed with the last guest you mentioned Kent, and I was like,
Yes.
oh.
Well, I don't
excuse me.
live in Kent now. I lived in Kent for like over 10 years. I actually live in the middle of Robin Hood country. So I live in Mansfield, which is like literally, I'm 10 minutes away from the Major Oak, so Sherwood Forest. But yeah, I lived in Kent for 10 years and worked down there as well. So it's very nice in Kent. It's very posh.
Beautiful.
It's very posh.
It's beautiful too. The rolling hills and the
Yes,
farmland.
yes,
Yeah,
it's very
very
nice.
nice.
It's very nice. So we need to get you over for a convention. So if any of the organisers are watching right now, get it sorted out. Get Rachel
Yeah,
over.
sign me up.
Yes, and then we talk about Rookie Blue. See, this is why you need to have a fashion degree or whatever, because I've never seen a police officer dressed like that, to be fair. And I watch, me and my wife, we go on YouTube and we put in American police chasers, because we find it quite amusing, to be fair, because they don't mess about. With us here, we don't really do anything. We just back off. But the Americans, they just run them over, which I'm just astonished to watch. It's quite brutal, to be fair. But this is you in Rookie Blue, which I've got to admit, I've never seen the show and I need to watch it, because the cast in it, as well as yourself. I mean, I love FBI, Most Wanted, FBI, and shows like that. And it's quite interesting to read the character that you play, in or portray in this show, which is Marlo Cruz. If you could tell us a bit about Marlo Cruz in this show and what makes a difference to the typical role that you take.
First of all, Marlo was my first series regular ever. So, and she was a heavy role for my first, they threw me in the deep end. They were like, swim. I loved her. First of all, Rookie Blue was a show that I loved and I watched, when I was a failed law enforcement graduate. I used to watch that show and think, oh my God, I would have made that mistake. And the cast is so incredibly lovely. Charlotte Sullivan sent me a message, my very first, like before I even started, and was like, welcome to the cast. And so they were such a lovely group to work with, but I was really wrapped up in this character who you find out that she suffers from bipolar disorder, and she's a senior police officer, and she makes some questionable choices. And on top of this, she comes in between the main couple of the show. So fandoms were less sympathetic to this character. But she came about at a time when no one was really talking about mental health. I don't even think the Claire Danes show had come out, or it was just coming out right at the same time. And she played a character suffering from bipolar disorder. And so the comments back then about this character and what she was able to do were sort of alarming and shocking. The truth about how people felt about people who were suffering from mental health disorders or problems was much different than the generation that watches Rookie Blue now. I have Gen Zs come up to me and are like, oh my God, I love that show. And I love the way you played that character, which is so different than how she was received the first time. So she's aged very, very well. And I am highly protective of that character because of her mental illness and this sort of stigma that, well, well, you can't do that job, or you can't. Well, that's not true. So I feel like this character actually opened up the doors for conversation. And I'm still in touch with people who suffer from bipolar, who reached out to me because of that character. And it's 12 years later, and they still reach out to me, and we still have conversations or check in with them, make sure everything's okay. It opened my eyes. I probably had the same impressions of mental health back then before I did this role. So I learned a lot.
What was your mindset going into this role? Because it's one thing taking on a character and their character traits, but this is a condition that, as you said back then, there is a stigma, which I think it's just down to education and understanding it. So what was going through your mind on what you had to get right? And were there any sort of worries and concerns that you wouldn't do anything just, because it's got to be a lot of pressure on you to make sure that it's delivered in a right way, that it can be relatable, but then not being the extreme version of it, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. There's that whole thing with Glenn Close about how she talks about her character in Fatal Attraction and how she would have played it a completely different way because she felt it was sort of very insensitive to what was going on with that character. With Marlo, for me, because I didn't know anything about bipolar disorder at all when I was preparing for her, and of course it's my first major role, so there it felt like a lot of pressure, and I wanted to make everyone happy, which is impossible. So I just had to stay true to her, and I wanted to make sure that I knew everything about bipolar disorder as much as I could find out, and also people who suffered from it. So Stephen Fry had put out a documentary. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it was terrific. It was a great resource. And I was watching people on YouTube and people who are going through manic episodes and then the opposite, and how they function, or how do their family members respond? How do they take care of or feel in this situation? Just so I could kind of make more informed choices. I didn't want her to appear crazy. Like I just didn't want that to be the fallback. And like I said before, the fandom was rough, and I made choices that maybe I shouldn't have to try to please everybody, because you could see what the fandom was saying while we were shooting. And then at the end of the day, it was like, no, you just got to stay true to her. She's got a story to tell, and it's affecting people positively and negatively, but c'est la vie.
I mean, from an actor's point of view, I mean, obviously this charity stream tonight is about mental health for Mind, and for you as an actor, having those negative comments, how did that affect you, and how do you deal with social media? Because there's too many people out there that are like keyboard warriors that just like to sort of exercise their demons by just being horrible to other people, which I just think is extremely sad, because if they use their energy for better things, the world would be a better place. So how do you deal with that negativity? Do you just shut it out, or have you got a method in place to just brush it aside?
Well, I think now I've got skin as thick as an alligator. So now if fandoms don't bother me now it's like, oh, okay. And I feel like there's a bit more of a healthier relationship between fandoms and shows now. Maybe it's the advent of reality TV. I don't know. But back then it was really tough. I cried a lot. People can be extremely cruel. And that was the thing, was understanding they're very brave behind a screen when they can be anonymous and they can type out. And unfortunately, that damages the person who's doing it, like, more than the person they're trying to hurt. Yeah. And I think, being kind to yourself and to others should be a priority for everybody. And ignoring keyboard warriors. They're just like you said, there's so much good you can be doing with that energy instead of tearing people down. Yeah.
Do you know what I always, and I was saying this today as well, funnily enough, that back in the day, bullies actually made an effort. They did it in person. Now it's literally, they're not even making an effort. It's just a faceless sort of crime. But thing is, I mean, I've got 2 young girls, and that scares the hell out of me. The fact that I think someone once said on the internet, it's not about protecting your kids from the internet. It's about teaching them self-esteem. Because if they get taught self-esteem, no matter what they face, it won't harm them as much. And that is what I aspire to do, is teach my girls self-esteem. So when this happens, they can just kick it to the side and say, yeah, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm good enough, I'm brave enough, I'm big enough. So, but yeah, it's crazy. It really is. It really is. But no. So I mean, obviously, you was in Star Trek and the other great shows. What have you got coming up? Is there anything that you can share about that you can tell us, or is it a case of, well, I'm doing stuff, but I can't say?
Yeah, I feel I did a film earlier this year, and I think the screening's coming up sometime soon. It was an independent, which was such a great time. It was, those feel very family oriented, which is great. I did work on another show. I did a guest spot a couple months ago, and I'm heading out of town again to do a feature, which I'm super excited about. But I definitely can't say anything. But contract was signed yesterday, and I'm packing my bags and hitting the road. I'm excited. Yeah.
Right. So we're going to play a game of Guess Who, and we're going to say all the actors' names, and let's see. No, I'm not. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Have you got a show or a TV, a TV show that you'd love to be part of that's out at the moment? Let's manifest potential roles.
Yeah, listen, I'd been messing around with the Bronx accent for a while. It sits well with me, apparently. Don't ask me to do it now, because now I'm feeling the pressure. But I was like, because I quit smoking 3 years ago, and I started boxing because I needed to do something with my hair. I had too much excess energy, and I fell in love with boxing. So I'm hoping that something manifests with that, whether it's me being a coach or a trainer or something in a film or a TV show. I would love to do that. I just want to keep, I feel so lucky that I get gifted with these incredibly cool characters that are way cooler than I am. And I just want more of them in my life. And I'm very lucky. The showrunner of Rookie Blue, she brought me back for a show called Mary Kills People. If you haven't seen that, that's really good. And that's all about assisted suicide. But she gives me really challenging roles. So I hope to keep working with her. She's doing Law and Order Toronto right now, which I was lucky enough to be a part of for an episode. So I want to keep working with her. Yeah.
You know what? I can't wait. But thank you, Rachel, so much for coming on to the show. I'm looking at the time. I'm coming up to my time to get ready for the next guest. But you know what? I'd love to have you on in the future, maybe when this independent comes out, because I love an independent film. I think they bring a lot more heart and soul because they haven't been, sort of influenced by the big studios. But I'd love to have you on the show properly, to have a proper deep dive into the life of an actor. And I've got a comment here just saying from Nick Nem, thank you, Rachel, which is nice. But thank you so much. I'll leave you to your rest of your day, and I've got 2 more interviews to do, and then I can nip to the little boys' room. But thank you so much, Rachel. Look after yourself and keep safe. All right.
Thanks so much, Brian. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was Rachel there from Star Trek Discovery and Rookie Blue. So we're just waiting for our next guest to come onto the show. Again, thank you so much for everyone that is watching live here. Please share it with your friends, family, people you don't even like. Just send it in a message. And let me know, and I'll do a shout out. But we've got 2 more interviews to do, and we're just waiting for them to come onto the actual stream. But yeah, so I mean, Chester, great star. Rachel, we've had Dave, and we've had Kimberly as well. And I can't believe we're still going strong with 2 more left. Remember, in the link, we have got the link for Mind. So, of course, this is what we're doing the stream for. We're doing it to raise awareness of mental health for everyone. And Mind is a great organization that, supplies the resources for us to get information if we're struggling. But again, their main message is to not be quiet, to speak to each other, to gain help. So obviously, if you are struggling out there watching with any mental health issues, please reach out to Mind or reach out to a friend. But we've got our next guest getting ready to come onto the show, and I cannot wait to introduce her onto the show again. But before we do, let's see this guest in action in an awesome show. And I'm looking down here because my eyesight is absolutely terrible. But here we go. This is our star in action in a wonderful show. And then I'll introduce her on. So here we go.
Consistency's kind of charming.
He could step on a landmine and talk himself out of it.
I know you have a soft spot for him.
I do.
I love that photo.
It's not just him. It's hockey players.
Why?
Take losing so personally. They don't just accept blame for a loss. They claim it. They take that burden off of their teammates. I fucked up. I cost us the game. I need to be better. But when they win, it's never personal. They never take credit. They never say I. They share it. In other sports, it's me, me, me. But in hockey, it's we. It's a team.
You trying to write the piece for me?
They can be irritating at times. And over the top, but they're
dumb,
ugly. They're sluts. But there's a humbleness there and a responsibility. I respect it.
So, of course, let's introduce this wonderful star on. She is coming back onto the show. Is Tassia Tellis. Tassia, welcome back to the show, my love.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see you.
Oh, do you know what? I'm so excited to have you back on the show. But before we get into the nitty gritty of what you've been up to since, I want to clarify something, because when we travel and we get on a plane, okay, we normally, remember our phone, maybe, other things. The last thing we want to take on a plane is a mirror ball. And if the audience is wondering what on earth I'm talking about, obviously it's not this mirror ball. And it's so funny because I was just bringing this mirror ball up earlier on and I saw a picture, and I'm going to bring it up onto the screen. There you go. She only packs the essentials. So please give us the gossip. Why a glitter ball traveling? Tell us all.
Glitter ball. I've never heard it called a glitter ball before.
Haven't you really?
Yeah, I call it a disco ball, baby.
Glitter ball.
That's.
Oh, I'm a man. I would just, I'm just a simple creature. I would just go, it's a ball and it glitters, so it's a glitter ball. Yeah. You're obviously a lot more, disco ball. You're seeing the purpose of it. Me, I'm just seeing what it does.
Yeah. I mean, I love the 70s. I love that whole disco era and that whole vibe. And you just never know when you're going to need a disco ball. No, I'm actually in the middle of moving, and I was bringing it back with me from Los Angeles to Canada because I'm throwing a party this weekend, Brian, and it's a disco themed party. So I looked at my place in LA, and I actually bought that disco ball like totally on a whim. I was with a friend, and we were driving back from, I can't remember where, but it was like late at night, and we pull up to this red light, and there's like this flower stand there, and it's selling all of these flowers. And then I just see like these different sized disco balls, and I was like, oh, we have to pull over. We need to go get some disco balls. We ended up buying a bunch of them. And I don't even know, like, I just felt like I needed one. And it's been sitting in my place in LA unused and unloved. And so I brought it back with me for this event.
So we better see pictures of this disco ball in action.
Absolutely.
Because I need to put mine up. I think yours is a bit smaller than mine. Mine is just stupidly large. And I'm just thinking, it's a big glitter ball. So I don't know how
I have a little bit of a
it.
disco ball and like envy right now. I'm like, where did you get that one?
I'm in a really small room, so God knows what effect that's going to have. My plan is so I'm going to do a thing in an interview where we can have a bit of a party and do like a quick fire quiz, and I press a button and it just goes off, and then we can have a great time. But Tassia, thank you so much for coming onto the charity stream. You're my 5th interview of the stream, and literally I can't believe I have been talking so much. So I'm going to ask some lovely questions and let you do the talking. So for everyone that hasn't seen your interview with us previously for Shoresy, which is a great show, I mean, you're Canadian, Brazilian, Ukrainian roots, born in Toronto and raised in Vancouver. So how has your cultural background influenced, your acting career, your acting decisions, or at you as a person?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think, when you come from an immigrant family, you have just a different relationship to the space that you grow up in. And you have also, like, I think a lot more compassion, or I don't know if you'd say a lot more, but I feel like I can relate to a lot of different types of people. Because I was, Brazilian, Ukrainian, we grew up eating foods from all over the world. My upbringing wasn't like, most people's, I guess. I remember I'd go to school and I would have these really crazy lunches, like in my lunchbox. And I remember feeling really kind of nervous and maybe a little bit like that childhood shame where you're like, you kind of just want Dunkaroos and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and like cookies or something, mom and dad, like, why am I having all of this like ethnic stuff going on? And it makes you feel a little bit other, so I think there's a bit of feeling a little different than everybody else, but then also being able to relate to people who are different and bring those differences into your characters when you work.
Yeah. I mean, it must be great though to have so many influences in your life as well. Different, like the Brazilian, the Ukrainian, and me, I'm just boring. I've just got one, so I wish I had more. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we are going to talk about the 100 and Shoresy because it'll be a crime not to. And I've got a question here straight away from someone, and it hasn't even got a name. It's just got an emoji on the actual question, and I don't know if that's an emoji of a squirrel, an otter, or I don't know. But they've asked if you could rewrite or change one character story on the 100. Which one would it be and why?
Oh, that's a big question. Oh, man. I feel like one that definitely is top of mind is Bellamy's character. I feel like I would have liked to just see different things from that character development towards the end of the series. I think that Echo's storyline was really wrapped up in his as well, and I think that there was just more room to grow and more things to uncover between those two and the rest of the crew. So I would have liked to see that articulated a bit differently, but yeah.
I think we've actually got the person, Denise Plank. There we go.
There she is.
She's rewrote it on Facebook and put it on that. So thank you, Denise. I mean, with these conventions that you go to, the fans are so passionate, and they come out with so many questions. Has any questions stumped you, like in the way what to answer? Because they are very specific. I mean, I've watched many of the panels, and they obviously are very passionate because I hear questions like, "Oh, in episode this, you did this," and for you as a performer, you film it and then you go on to the next one. So, do you ever get stumped with what they ask?
Oh man, all the time, Brian. I mean, when you're doing so many episodes as well,
Yeah.
and I mean, I think I've done almost 50 episodes of the 100, or maybe even more. But you definitely start to like lose track because you're filming for 6 months, and so we're in the forest, we're in like the deep forest in the mountains in British Columbia, and all the kind of like all the days almost like turn into one long rainy day. And you're like, and like that there's like fighting and battles and things going on, but you can't quite remember like place where things happened exactly when enough time has passed, which it's been a few years since we've been filming. I mean, we filmed our last episode 5 years ago, so definitely I mean, sometimes I'll just sit there with the microphone and I'll just like look to somebody else and be like, Eliza, do you wanna kick us off? Because they might actually
flip
say
it back
something
to them, flip it back and go,
Yes.
what do you think? What do you think I should have done as Echo?
But yeah, I'm letting you speak on my behalf. Thank you so much. I elect you. But sometimes I'll say something that actually like does trigger the memory or trigger the day. So then you're like, oh right, okay, and you can get back into it. But you definitely get lost sometimes, for sure.
I mean, I love the fact that you do so many conventions, and I love seeing the fact that you enjoy conventions and the love of the 100, as well as other projects that you've been on. I mean, with conventions, I often find that it's a place where people go that not only they want to feel safe, because conventions I just think is just a massive room full of love. Is there any special interactions that you've had that will stay with you that you just thought, wow, this is a moment I'll always remember? Remember.
I mean, there are so many, Brian. Conventions is one thing that I didn't even think about when I started acting, that I didn't even know was going to be a big part of my life, and that was going to also be such a tremendous source of joy. I love them. I love connecting with the fans. I love hearing about how they relate to this show and the characters, what they like and don't like. But I also like, talking to them about other things that are going on in their life, or, we've developed friendships with people over the years of conventions, and they've led to some really special moments. And one of which was in Paris. I think it was like one of the nights of the VIP parties, and Caroline, my girl Caro, she started singing an Alicia Keys song, and it just felt like the whole room got really quiet, and she was like, her voice was kind of like trembling like a little bit in certain moments, but she just carried this song with so much like soul and power and depth. I was just like totally gobsmacked by her in this moment. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that you even had that voice, girl. Like, what is going on? And I just found it to be something that was like really brave, because she did it in front of a whole bunch of people. And I had been talking about wanting to sing. I still want to sing, but it's one of those things that I have such tremendous fear over that I don't know that I could do that. So when she did that, I was just really impressed with her. And then, that was a moment that I'll never forget. But I mean, every convention, there's always more than one crazy, fun, amazing thing that happens. And we were in Boston earlier this year, and I mean, I don't even know if I should get into any of the stuff that happens at the VIP parties there, because they're pretty outrageous.
It's fine. We won't tell anyone.
You kind of have to know. You have to be there. How about that?
Yeah.
That's like, if you know, you know.
Yeah, I could imagine. But I mean, talking about obviously singing, imagine that glitter ball that you've got, your disco ball, and you've got karaoke. what would be your go-to karaoke song after a few margaritas?
I mean, there's nothing that gets you going like a good anthem song. So like something like I Love Rock and Roll. You know, it's a song that everybody knows, everybody can sing along. It's fun. I think it would just be like a good entry point, let's say. And then I have a long list of others, but anything disco.
Do you know what? I've got a feeling, Tassia, that you would be annoyingly good at singing. Do you know what I mean? I think that you would go, no, I'll be worried. Give me the mic. And you just rock it. Literally. It's just like
some false humility, just like, oh no, I shouldn't. I'm not that good. Is this thing on?
It's like that Mariah Carey meme that's going around, going, oh no, oh no, oh no. Yeah, that Christmas song. Yeah. But have you ever thought about theatre, musical theatre? Have you ever done that?
I've never done musical theater. I think about theater all the time. I love it. I've been cast to do some projects off Broadway, and sadly they would conflict with my filming schedule, so I wasn't able to actually do them. Last year was one of them in September. I was supposed to do this fantastic play, but it's always on the menu, and I'm hoping to do something in the coming months. But musical theater I haven't really thought much about, but it looks like a ton of fun, you know?
You're going to mix acting, singing, and you know, yeah, character singing as well. You don't have to worry too much because you're in character, you know? I could see, to be honest, I could see you in Hamilton.
I think you're onto something, Brian. I think you might have just like cracked a whole thing open for me now.
That's it. But then, I mean, obviously, it's been a while since you've been on the show. You know, you've been very, very busy, especially with Shoresy. You know, season 4 and then upcoming season 5. Have we got any news on when season 5 is coming out?
Well, they've been telling me that it was supposed to be coming out around like late this year, maybe November, December. But I messaged them the other day. I was like, guys, like, what's going on with season 5 here? And they said actually they're going to have to probably release it early 2026, so probably January, February now. Yeah.
And for anyone that hasn't caught up, what's been happening with the sluts, as they say, I still find that hilarious. I went to see ice hockey for a while, and I just kept on saying the word in the hope that someone would know that what I was talking about. But in England, I don't think they use that, so they looked at me quite weird. So what is Nat up to? Over the last couple of seasons that you can sort of tease us about to catch us up with what she's been up to.
Yeah, so when we meet Nat, she basically inherits a hockey team from her mom who passed away, and this hockey team was, the center of the community of the town that she grew up in, that she was born, Sudbury, Ontario, which is a real place in Canada. We film in Sudbury, and it's amazing. But anyway, so she inherits this hockey team, and it's been a really successful hockey team. And then it just starts taking a nosedive, and they basically just become a bunch of losers. She does her best. She tries to hire coaches in Toronto. She relies on Shoresy, who the show is named after, who's just a handful of a character. Just can't seem to do anything right. Not like the brightest, but has a lot of heart and a lot of, and just loves hockey. He just loves winning. Me and him love winning. And I look at him and I'm like, I don't know how to do this, Shoresy. Like, I just don't know how to do it. I failed. I don't know how to do this. And he makes and I'm going to fold the team. So we meet Natalie when she's about to fold the team and walk away entirely from it. And then Shoresy makes a promise to never lose again. And you can imagine for Natalie how confusing this was, because they hadn't won a single game, I think, in that season or in a while. And so she's like, oh yeah, we're never going to lose again, Shoresy. Like, okay, nice try. And what they do is they completely rehaul the team, and they get on this winning streak, and then they become champions. And then the hockey players, who Nat describes as sluts. So that's where that that word comes into play in the show, along with like a lot of other fun lingo, but hockey lingo. But she refers to them as sluts. And so the sluts, they start kind of becoming like these local celebrities, and they start, you know, getting female attention and becoming like really popular. And the whole city of Sudbury becomes this vibrant place that cheers for their winning hockey team. That's, you know, this champion team that her and Shorzy have brought to victory. And the last season that we had, it was the off season. So in that season, I was trying to deal with, or Nat was trying to deal with, how to keep the sluts out of trouble, because all they wanted to do was drink around town with their trophy and bask in their glory. And so she was trying to get them focused so they don't go too crazy or get a bad reputation or something like that. And then in season 5, it's going to be a really interesting season because there's some problems that they face that they haven't faced before. And we see Shorzy, who basically got a huge concussion and isn't able to play anymore. We see him step into the role of a coach, which has a whole bunch of challenges and hilarious situations.
You know what? You know, as she was explaining that, I can remember the last time we spoke, we talked about the fact that, you know, Nat calls these hockey players sluts. I was under the impression that word slut is an actual hockey reference.
I think it's a Nat specific.
Oh, what?
Nat
So,
specific.
wait a second. So I've been calling hockey players in the UK sluts, right? Thinking that I'm being trendy, saying like a lingo that hockey players will understand. And all along, it's a Nat thing. Oh, no wonder they're looking at me funny. It's looking at me knocked out.
I know, they're like, what are you talking about?
This guy
I think
calling
at
us.
this point, Brian, you're safe. You're safe now. I think the show has made its way through hockey teams all over the world.
Yes.
And so that people are aware. But sometimes even with me, it takes me a minute to kind of remember that that's a word. I was at a wedding in Mexico this June, and I was standing at the bar, and I grabbed my margarita, and I turned around, and as I turned around, someone's just walking towards me and just says to me with like the most confidence, like just right, you know, locks eyes with me and just says, "Hey, where are all the sluts at?" And I just like stood there and I was like, what? Wait a second. Because I was like in a tropical environment. I wasn't thinking about the show at all, you know? So I was totally kind of caught off guard. And then like a second later, I was like, oh, of course, the sluts. The Shorzy sluts, the hockey sluts.
you had to pause for a second then before having a go.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, you know. So with this stream, Tasia, it's for mental health, and I think we all have struggled with mental health. Doesn't matter what walk of life that you've lived. I mean, has there been difficult times that you've had to deal with, and how have you overcome them? Because it's quite interesting to hear, like, from different people, because we see, you know, actors like yourself have this perfect life. You're on Instagram and you're doing these amazing shows. Surely you've got no issues or had any issues, but we're humans. You know, we all have it, you know, our own, you know, demons and issues. I mean, is there anything that you can share that maybe will sort of, you know, inspire someone to, you know, to, I don't know, to get any advice?
Yeah. I mean, I'm full of great advice for other people. Do I take my own? Who's to say?
Yeah.
You know how it goes. I mean, what's really funny about the mental health, what we see with mental health too, is like when we are in a place where we're suffering, for some reason, part of that experience, for me anyways, has been thinking that other people don't, or thinking that everybody does have this perfect life, or that things are so much better for these, whatever trick your mind is playing on you, or whatever is being portrayed on Instagram, whatever narrative that you've come up with that's kind of like, oh, I wish I could have this, or I wish that person looks like they have it so easy, or whatever it may be. And it's never the case. It's never the case, you know, and just getting back into oneself and really being watchful of those stories that we tell ourselves and the words that in our head, because they are spells. Like, I look at them as spells. So I look at them as like things that, like, you know, these like mantras, and they can start to actually happen by accident if you're not careful. And you have to catch yourself and really start to steer the mental ship towards stories and words and ideas that are going to help you, you know, that are going to make you get through the hard times. And I was speaking with a friend who he does like coaching and mindset coaching for Olympic athletes. And he and I were talking about how Olympians, or anybody at a high level of competitive sports, their mental acrobats and the things that they say to themselves are so fine-tuned and so catered to making sure that they're thinking in a way that's going to bring them success, or bring them into a place of feeling confident or feeling good or feeling capable, or any of those things that they might need wherever they are in their journey. So yeah, being really mindful about what's going on in your head, and then having an outlet to get rid of it altogether, or to write it down and kind of like look at it, or and think about things, or just dance it off, or whatever it may be. But just being on top of how we think with the thoughts that are going through our heads, I think is really important.
And it's interesting you say about like giving advice. It's always easier to give other people advice. I mean, I can solve world hunger and war, but yet can I? It's strange, isn't it? Because I think we're more comfortable with looking outwards than we are looking inwards. I think that when we look inwards, we feel like we failed. But no, it's nice to hear the words that you're saying. And I mean, what do you do to relax? What's your go-to? Is it a case of a bit of meditation, or is it a bit ASMR, or whatever it's called?
I never got into the ASMR thing.
Didn't you?
That's something I think I tried to or something, but it just didn't really hit for me. Over the years, I mean, you asked me earlier if there were times in my life where I've gone through, you know, challenges, or you know, I don't want to say mental health crises, or because that sounds too big, but yeah, where you've just gone through hard times and you've needed to rely on some different tools to get you through them, things that you maybe had never done before. So Brian, I've tried them all. I've tried them all. I'm like, okay, the last one didn't work. Let's try this one. And so I have tried a lot of different things. Like, I was really averse to going like on walks. Like, I wouldn't like go for a walk. I just didn't. I was like, I don't like walking, and I had this weird relationship to it. I was like, I'm just not a walker. And now I love it. Like, it's my thing I rely almost on the most. It just clears, I don't know, it just like gets, I don't know, your blood going, you're kind of connected to the world, you're out there, you're seeing people, you get out of your head, or sometimes you're still in it, but like you're moving, and it gets these endorphins going, and I just love it. But I've done journaling, I've done cold plunging, I've done, you know, boxed breathing and breath work, I've done dancing. I'm a big fan of too. Dancing, yeah, because I think another thing that really is a good antidote to these mental health corners that we can get into is a sense of humor and feeling silly. So dancing is like a really good kind of quick way to access that kind of silly energy and to move and just kind of shake it off, you know? Yeah.
No, that's good.
And then I'll just cycle through them. You know, sometimes it's cooking, sometimes it is meditation. Meditation was the hardest one for me. I like to move, you know, so like stillness is really tough, but it was probably one of the ones that helped me the most. But I don't know, have you ever gotten into meditation? Like, what's your form of
No,
meditation?
I haven't got the patience for it. Literally, I honestly, I can't like focus for like longer. For me, because I'm married and I've got kids, my meditation is being in a room that's quiet. That is it. That is it. And you know what? My wife's probably watching right now, taking notes, going, "All right, quiet room, eh? We'll see about that." But Tassia, I'm looking at the time. It's our time. Thank you so much for coming on to the show again. It's been an absolute delight. I can't wait to see the pictures on Instagram of your disco ball in action. So for
There's
everyone
gonna be one just for you, Brian. Don't you worry.
that would be awesome. Right, Tassia, you look after yourself. Keep safe. Stay super.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll chat again in the future.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, Brian. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Right, so that was Tassia Tellis there from the 100 and so many other shows like Shawsey. So we've got one more guest to be on the show, on the live stream. Thank you so much for everyone watching. Really excited for the last guest. Not only is it because she's the last and I can eventually go to the toilet, but she is voicing a great character in a new Marvel game, which I cannot wait to play, which comes out very, very soon. Because, you know, if you find out in the interview what the game is and you go onto YouTube, you'll see it. And it is like the best retro style game that I've seen that is coming out. So I cannot wait. But I can't wait to welcome her onto the show. But again, remember, this stream is for Mind, which is a UK mental health charity. Please follow the link on the description. Donate. If you want to donate a couple of pounds, you can. If you don't want to, that is fine. Just keep watching, keep liking the video, sharing it. And then instead of a donation, just be kind to each other, say something nice. The other day, funnily enough, I thought to myself, what can I do that's nice? And I decided to compliment every single person that I came across. And the simplest little things, by complimenting, you know, the way they dress, the way the hair is, anything really. And I found that actually it went down really, really well. So don't be frightened to do things like that, because if you do them genuinely, they normally are good. You don't have to worry about anyone getting offended. So we're just waiting for our next guest that should be coming on very, very soon. I'm just going to check to make sure I have got no messages to say that they're stuck somewhere, which I'm sure I haven't. But I can't wait to see Stranger Things. I don't know if anyone's watching that is looking forward to Stranger Things. Also, other shows. If you're watching some great shows at the moment, please comment below while we're waiting for our next guest. On you know, the shows that you've been watching recently. Welcome to Derry is a very good show. I like it. It's a show that, well, it was a show that gave me my fear of clowns. So it was nice to see Welcome to Derry, you know, to give me the lowdown on the origins of it. Great show, great cast, and the story is very, very good. Andy Muschietti, I think his name is. I probably just absolutely murdered his surname, but the man behind The Flash. And then we've got Nick Nem, definitely counting down the days until season 5. I don't know where they're going to go with it, because what makes me nervous is are they going to end it in a way that everyone is going to be happy with? Because the problem is with shows like Game of Thrones and shows like that have got a big following, when they end it, you hear so many people complain about it, saying that they're not that happy around how it's ended. So, I mean, what do you want the show to end like? What would you like the outcome to be? Actually, who do you want in the show? There's going to be a death. There is. and which character do you want to not die? Because yeah, exactly. So like Dexter, for instance, Dexter season 8. So we've been waiting years and years for Stranger Things. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they do it justice and it ends in a way that we're all happy with. But someone might die in Stranger Things, maybe a character that we're not expecting. Because remember, it's the last season, no more. So in that case, I don't want Steve to go. Do you know what? It's just been confirmed actually online that Eddie is definitely not coming back because I read somewhere that there was a theory. So there's a theory that Eddie was turned into a vampire because in D&D, I think the creature that kills Vecna was called Kai or something like that. But anyway, you might know what I'm talking about if you're a Stranger Things fan. But we're gonna wait and see what's gonna happen with it. But I can't wait. I really can't. I wonder what soundtrack is going to be on this season because we've had Never Ending Story. We've had it's been played so many times. I've forgotten what it is. I've mentally taken it from my head. But yeah. So so we're just waiting for our next guest. If you've got any questions regarding Mind, please comment below. It'd be great to see Eddie in a flashback scene. See, I thought that, but I got told that it's been officially announced by the creators, so the Duffer Brothers, that he's definitely not coming back. He's not going to be appearing. But I don't know. I mean, when he was asked at a convention if he was going to appear, he seemed quite sheepish and he hid behind the microphone. So I don't know if he is or not. They may be saying that as like a surprise thing because apparently on the last episode, it's one that they've really thought about, but I don't know. But yeah, didn't he? Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. We've only got a week to wait for it. We've just got a week to wait for the actual Stranger Things. I'm just currently doing some admin really quickly. So let me just. Talk amongst yourself. I mean, so I haven't really got anything to show. You know, I didn't think that. I mean, obviously, maybe the internet gods are playing havoc with my next guest. Because or either that or she's watching thinking, right, he needs a toilet, so if I delay a bit, we can watch him squirm. So we're just going to wait and see. But any other shows that you're watching, please let me know because I'm always interested in watching new shows. Like the ones that I've been watching recently is Billy the Kid, Robin Hood. Both on MGM Plus. I don't know whereabouts you are located and if MGM Plus is available in those areas. But if you've got any shows that you want to suggest that for us to see, and I can try and get guests from those shows out. Yeah, Fallout Season 2, going to Vegas. Cannot wait. You know, Walter Goggins, I just think is incredible actor. Credible as the Ghoul. I don't know if anyone's watched Sons of Anarchy, but he was fantastic in that opposite Kim Coates. That sort of storyline for me, I just thought it was incredible for an actor to take that on and be the way he was. I just think it's fantastic. But for me, Fallout was incredible. You see, I have this debate a lot with people. So when they take a game and they turn it like a franchise from a game into a TV show. So for me, I don't hold them accountable too much. So for example, Halo. A lot of people hate Halo because Master Chief takes his helmet off. And like I've tried to explain to a lot of people, it's not about him taking his helmet off. It's about the origin story. So season 1 is literally before we all know Master Chief as Master Chief. And I thought it was done very, very well. We saw the backstory of the Spartans. We saw the backstory of the characters, and it was done very, very well. Season 2 had Joseph Morgan in it from the originals. Klaus as Anderson. I thought he played a great antagonist in season 2. I'm just disappointed that too many shows out there, they get you hooked in, and then they just cancel it, and then they just end it, and that's it. I'm just a bit disappointed that that these showrunners and these platforms don't care about the audience as much, because if they did, they wouldn't leave you on a cliffhanger as many times as they do. I think that they should end each season sort of closing it out with a glimmer of hope, and then that way we feel a bit of justice being given to us as an audience. But when you get shows out there that I haven't seen, and I know that it ends on a cliffhanger, I won't watch it, because I don't want to spend all those hours invested in a show and then get told, no, there's no more. And it's definitely a problem. They don't. I mean, look at Warrior Nun. Warrior Nun had the biggest fandom that I've ever known. And I had the privilege of interviewing all the cast. All the cast were amazing, and the fan base was just incredible. And when they cancelled it down, I can remember I was interviewing David Hayter, who was the producer, executive producer. He's also the voice of Snake from Solid Snake. And I was interviewing him, and halfway through the interview, he had a phone call, well, a message, and he looked at it, and then we continued the interview. And then we started to talk about the next season. And then afterwards, he messaged me because the news came out that Warrior Nun had been cancelled. And he apologized because during the interview halfway through, Simon Barry, the showrunner, had messaged him to say that it was over. It's been cancelled. And David Hayter didn't have the heart to tell me because we were talking about the actual franchise. I'm just a bit gutted that we're not going to see a film franchise. We're not going to see a trilogy as promised, because unfortunately Dean English, the owner of the rights, I think he passed away a little while ago. So it says, I am still, and this show is old, very frustrated when they cancelled Pushing Daisies back in the days. It was such a wonderful show. You know what? I just hope that they do revisit shows. They need to. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So I'm just checking here. Just making sure that I haven't got any emails. Right, so I mean, we'll give the next guest, another couple of minutes. If she is not coming on for any reason, I will stop the stream because I am sure that you don't want to listen to me harp on about shows, until she comes on. But we'll see. This is something, funnily enough. So when I had the idea of having 6 guests back to back, I never had the thought. Once if someone cancelled, once if there's difficulty. So I admire anyone that goes live with guests. I admire anyone that goes live. I mean, Mind the mental health charity. This is Streaming for Mind, which they do every single year. And they ask streamers and people like myself to get involved. And they reached out and asked, would I get involved? I said, of course. And bearing in mind, there's some people out there, gamers, that are streaming for 15 hours non-stop. Literally, I've been, you know, how long have I, since 7 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, so 2 hours and 44 minutes non-stop. And I'm cream crackered. But saying that, though, I suppose playing a game, you're not talking as much. You're focused on a game. You're playing it. You're not worrying about asking questions or anything like that. So kudos to you, Brian. Yes, thank you. Someone's got to do it. And I enjoy it, to be fair. And it's about bringing awareness to mental health charities. So I think... the guest. There we go. Right. So we're going to welcome the guest in right now. But before we do, we're going to show you a bit of her in action with this video.
I'm sorry, Alicia.
Sorry. The road to hell is paved with regret and reproach. But you know that. You've been traveling that road.
You have to leave this town.
Go where? This is my home.
Is no one else going to bring the fight to those murderers? Who's gonna fight with me? You deserve to hang. Why waste his life when it can make me stronger? I'm going to kill you.
So our next guest, our final guest, and I cannot wait to introduce her, is Alicia. Hello, Alicia. How are you? Oh, hello. You sound a bit robotic. I don't know what's going there. I don't think the internet gods are on my side tonight. Yeah, so if you disconnect and reconnect again and just see if that works this time. So we're just going to wait. So Alicia Rotaro is a great voice actor and actress. She was in Arrow. She's been in so many things, and she's got a great upcoming game that she's voicing on. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Internet gods. Can you hear me okay? No, it's all robotic. I don't know what's going on. Oh no. I don't know what to say. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, that's perfect. That sounds brilliant. Hello, welcome back to the show.
Hi. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, look at you in your posh little vocal booth. That looks very nice. But thank you so much for coming back onto the show. I've got to say, that video that I played, when I was looking at all the stuff that you've done, I think I've missed that film. I need to watch that film.
Oh,
that looks
yeah,
kick-ass.
that film's fun. Thank you, Danny Trejo. He was so amazing.
That looks
like
amazing.
YOLO moment.
And do you know what? It's been a hot minute since we last spoke, and you've been so busy, from voicing Black Canary in Justice League, Crisis on Infinite Earth, and this game that's coming out very, very soon, which I want to speak about. So huge news! You're now officially She-Hulk. Yes. How cool is that? You're like ticking the boxes off here. You know, DC, now Marvel. I've got a picture of her from the game. Let me just bring that up. There she is. Look at that. Yeah. So, you know, what was your reaction when you found out that you were going to be the one that were going to be voicing She-Hulk in this game?
Man, I was blown away. I thought it was kind of surreal, but I also didn't know like what it was. You know what I mean? Because the game world is so secretive. And it was actually a really cool moment in my career that I don't really speak about often because it's not like I'm trying to toot my own horn or whatever it was, but the game team just offered it to me. It was like a direct offer where they reached out to my team and I was like, "What? Like this is cool." That's only happened like a handful of times in my career with things like that, but yeah, definitely wonderful to hear how they wanted that to happen and they saw my work as She-Hulk before in like a kids cartoon where I voiced her. Um, it's called like Spidey and Friends. I did one episode and they heard that and they loved that and that's what they wanted. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
But how cool
So
is that to get to the
it's gonna
point
be
where
cool.
actually you don't have to go through auditions? Like literally, they just know what you can deliver, and they just
Yeah.
offer it you. I think that's incredible. And this game, it comes out on the 1st of December, and
Yeah.
the like the footage I've seen. Is literally for me, it's a game for my generation. I mean, to look at
Right.
it just reminds me back when games were amazing and you played them and oh my god, I cannot wait to get this game. I really can't.
Me
It just
too.
looks incredible. Are you telling me that you haven't got a copy of the game
No,
already?
it's not out. I don't have access to it yet. It's like I'm gonna drop it with you guys on the 1st. I got my Nintendo Switch ready. Like I'm ready.
Oh,
I
what?
haven't seen I haven't seen anything beyond what you've seen or like I haven't done the demos. I haven't really gone there. So I'm just as excited as you and everyone else.
But I mean, are you literally? Have you got like a board up somewhere? Because I think we've spoken about having like a mood board before. But I mean, have you got like a
Oh,
franchise board where you're just literally ticking off, DC, Marvel,
oh
then
my God.
and all that lot?
Ryan, you're awesome. Man, you actually just reminded me that I need to actually redo it, my little vision board. I never really had it that way, but I kind of did, yeah. Like, I never really looked at it the way that you're presenting it before. For me, it was more just like iconic roles or roles that would be challenging to me, that would etch something in people's memories. So those are still yeah, like this is pretty cool. Like I'd love to now bring this to like an on-camera live action format in some way, shape, or form. But I mean, yeah, I never thought about it on the grand scheme of you just but thank you.
I mean, when you had this role, I mean, obviously we had She-Hulk the series on Disney. When you do the
Mhm.
voice for a character, how difficult is it to try and do a voice that is not, sort of copying necessarily someone else's voice? And how did you come up with the voice of She-Hulk for this game?
Well, for this one particularly, like I mentioned earlier, they heard my play on it from the other animated short that I did for the kids series, and so we just played off of that as the baseline and then elevated her a little bit more because it's a totally different world and landscape that she's in with this game. Not that kids can't play it. I mean, I think they can, but we just kind of like amped her up, gave her a little bit more edge, and it's a game, so there's more fighting as opposed to storytelling and narrative. And that kind of did its work, and she just came to life. And we popped off with the amazing game team that was directing me across the mic. Like, oh my God. And then I got to meet them at San Diego Comic-Con. Like, what an amazing group of people. But it was just so much fun. Like, we had a blast. I truly didn't really know what what was going to happen going into the session, but they kind of just let me take the reins with notes and guidance here and there, and we just played.
I mean, let's mention San Diego Comic Con because it's a Comic Con that is like the mecca of all Comic Cons. It's the one that everyone wants to get to.
Yeah.
What was that like
Yeah.
going? Because I saw awesome pictures of you guys walking down to the hall where you were doing your panel. I mean, the overall experience,
Right.
out of 10, what would you give it? And is there any behind the scenes stories that you can share?
Oh man, for sure like 20 out of 10. It blew my mind. That was actually something that's been on my vision board for my entire career. And the fact that I got to go there the first time for this project, for this character, alongside an amazing cast and crew, like, is mind-blowing. I'm actually staring at my little name tag up there in my studio that they put on your panel desk. But it was so rad. It was very overwhelming. Um, Definitely a heightened experience from, my friends that have always said, like, it's crazy. The biggest piece of advice they're saying is bring good walking shoes, which they are not wrong about. And stay hydrated because you literally get up and go all day. You want to. Like, there's so much to see and do. Plus, the lineups are insane. Like, you have to really tap into your, like, meditative patience zone to get through the days there because it's chaotic.
But how do you cope with those days? Because it must be absolutely tiring to actually get through. Because it's one thing going to a Comic-Con and attending it as a fan, but to actually be there attending it as someone going to do a panel. I mean, how do you keep that energy going so you come across as this excitable person that's got all this great news?
I mean, for me, it's an easy thing because I feed off of the people I'm around, and I love doing things like that. So that fuels my system. And I only had one panel this year, and I know people that have done multiple. So I don't know how they handled it, but I'm sure that they took a lot of downtime. Or, like introvert, extrovert vibes. Like, where do you fit in? Do you need to be out there in the crowd? I think to each their own for sure. Like, there was a lot of Red Bulls going around, I saw, and just like everyone revved up. Plus, they had like after parties going into the evening. So that was another thing too, where you're like, oh my God, like this party after this whole day. Like, I think you're just running on fuel and adrenaline of like being there and the rush of meeting and being around all these amazing people. But then there's also people that I saw were like coming in and leaving, like they're coming in for the panel or whatnot, and then they're out. And I was like experiencing it from a fan side too, because I went and sat in some of the panels and I was there with my publicist, Ashley, and she's never been either. So we were both like noobs. Like, we're just like, whoa, like soak this all up. Like, where do we go? How do we schedule it? Like, then there's panels overlapping with panels. So who do you see? Like, which one do you choose? So it was a lot, and it's a very big space to cover. So, man, like you just have to make sure you have a good hotel or wherever you're staying and get a good sleep. That's like, know where your coffee station is in the morning and then go.
Exactly. Plenty of caffeine. And funny you mention, Ashley, your publicist,
Right,
because she's going to come on to my show in the new year to talk about being a publicist. Because you know what? It's one thing, she's the one that I normally deal with. So why don't I get her on the show and actually find out the ins and outs of her job? So I look forward to doing that. So I cannot wait. I mean, with do you know what, your phone your phone is probably buzzing right now saying don't say anything, don't say anything. I mean, with with this new role as She-Hulk, for this game, have you got a favorite line, a favorite phrase that you had to say? I mean, do you get favorite lines, or is it because obviously you're doing this voice work? Is it quite repetitive, or do you actually do lines stay with you?
I mean, for this character, it's so cliche, but it is She-Hulk smash. Like, it is the one that you hear over and over, but like, we've done variants of it in the game. I'm sure you'll hear her like smash and like loud and different like levels of it, but that is the one. And this game, there wasn't a lot of external like expository dialogue between the characters and like their adventures together. So that's the one you're probably going to hear a lot. But it's the one, like it's She-Hulk and Hulk, like those are their iconic etched in your brain lines. And I loved performing. It was kind of like, echoing to the Canary role that I did for DC. It's like she doesn't really have a line that sticks with me, but it's when I did the Canary scream. And so those were the things that I'm like, oh yeah, very like, let's take some downtime off the mic after this one. But so those are always the fun parts.
And with you on social media, we're always seeing like how much time you're spending in your booth, on a daily
Right.
basis. I mean,
Right.
I've only been talking like for nearly 3 hours, and I'm ready for a lie down. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you literally cope for a whole day? Not only just speaking, but putting your heart and soul and every ounce of your talent into it. I mean, how do you survive a day working
Oh,
in that
yeah.
booth?
I mean, some days are rough. Like, I I always wake up in the morning. I know this might sound kind of dorky, but I always wake up in the morning saying to myself, "Today is a good day." Like before I even get out of bed. I know that's like so beyond being in the booth, but I always try to set myself up in a mind frame of today is a good day. Like before I even pop open my eyeballs and whip out the blankets and go out. But when I step into the booth too, like I just get pumped. Like I have stupid stuff around my booth that you can't see right now, but like my husband took a label maker and he made a label. I don't know if I can swear on your podcast, but he's like, he put
Of
a
course you
little
can.
thing
You can
that
say
says make
whatever
the
you want.
he's like I'm staring at it now. He's like, "Make the fucking money, woman. Do it." Like he like wrote labels across my computer screen and like stuff like "You were awesome. Like keep going." And I have pictures of my family in here. I have like weird memorabilia, like little She-Hulk, Funko Pop, and
But you know what? Your husband can do whatever he wants because he's like Prince Charming. He's a lovely man. Literally, he couldn't be portrayed more nicely on social media. You know,
Yeah.
even his farts are nicely sounded,
They
and
are.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I can't believe how time has flown because I think the last time we spoke, we were talking about your little one having.
Yeah.
Swimming lessons on how
Yeah.
to lay on their back and
Survive.
front.
Yeah.
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 And now they're like how old? 24? I mean,
4.
how
Yeah.
long has it been? It's
She's
it's
pretty
been a
much
while,
like,
but 4.
she's driving me around and making me a martini. Like,
There you
duh.
go.
Yeah.
Train them
Thank
young.
you.
Train them young.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
she's
but
4 years old. It's creepy. I know.
that is crazy, isn't it? But do you know what?
I
It's
know.
great when they get to an age where they can do things for you. Do
I
you know
know
what I
they
mean?
do. She does. Yeah, but she loves doing it. It sounds like I'm not like ordering her to do things, but like she sets the table, does the dishwasher with us, like helps us with laundry. Like she just chimes in because like she sees us doing that all the time. And then she's always actually in my booth. Like the door is right here and she's always she has her art table out there. So she's always working while I'm working and like we'll pop in and like ruin a session, but it's cute because she's 4 and everyone's like, "That's okay." But
It's not
yeah,
slavery
no.
at all. It's not
No,
slavery.
no,
Do you know what? I
not.
often found that when my girls were younger, I turned everything into a game. So technically, I
Yeah.
was training them to put
Yeah.
the pots away into the kitchen because every time they did, I'd go,
Yes.
"Yay, well done."
Yeah.
So literally, you're slowly training them,
You
and I'm
are.
thinking,
Yeah, how
actually,
fast
do
can
they
you do
want to
it?
do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
But no,
time you.
I mean, obviously, you've been busy since we last spoke. But I mean, apart from obviously Marvel's Cosmic Invasion, is there anything else that you mention or you can talk about or we can find out about, or is it all
Ooh.
still hush hush?
I mean, there's a couple of projects that I can't really lay down right now, but I'm very excited about again in this game world. So those should be dropping soon, and then I'll blast it. But for the most part, it's been like a really interesting few years since you and I connected, but it's been strong and solid, and I've just been recalibrating, like, where are we putting our focus and like what is life, like what are we doing? Like how do we find that balance? And like with social media, I'm kind of taking it like a little baby digital detox. Like I'm not really on there so much anymore, mostly because of the kid and the family and because I'm in here a lot. I've just noticed I love connecting with people on social. So I'm now being just more selective with that time as opposed to just like always being on and available, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and giving that back to the things that fuel me, like my kid and my family and like myself. Like, so yeah, I'm just work. It's been really nice because I've just been putting it out there to align with projects that are able to keep us like more than sustained, of course, but also creatively fulfilled. And that has happened. Like one of the projects I just did this summer was such a godsend. I got back into the mocap studio with a director that I've been wanting to work with my entire career again. And it happened. And it was such a beautiful ensemble of cast. Like I have goosebumps. So I can't wait for that to come out and just, like refresh that energy for that work we did this summer. But man, like, yeah, it's been a really cool stuff. And it's just funny getting older. You're just like, what do you want to, it's not like we all, we kind of have the luxury to like guide our own thing and be selective,
Yeah.
but you also kind of want to make sure that that selection is also feeding you in the ways that it should, right? Like, and maybe that comes, with getting older and you're like, I don't need to do this. Like,
And it's quite,
I don't know. Or like,
it's
I don't
quite
know.
interesting though when you said about social media, because obviously that ties in quite nicely to what the reason behind me doing this live stream for 3
Yeah.
hours, because
Yeah.
I think that we can engross ourselves in social media so much that I think sometimes we can lose ourselves and our purpose
Yeah.
and what's
Yeah.
important to
Yeah.
us. So when you're feeling a bit under the weather or you're feeling a bit stressed out or anxious about
Yeah.
stuff, because the industry isn't always rainbows, butterflies and cupcakes. So what
Yeah.
do you
Especially these
do?
last years.
What do you
Yeah.
do to like decompress and to find yourself?
Man, I think my biggest thing is always physical activity. I love, like, I always try and make a valid effort to meditate twice a day. I did TM meditation training almost 10 years ago and I loved it. It was the best thing I invested in for myself and my husband. And we try to do that twice a day dedicatedly. And then sometimes we get one in, but that helps a lot. And then working out, like if I go a day without working out, my system is off. Like I need to do something. It doesn't need to be like lifting heavy or like, a leg day every day, but I need to go for a walk or, go for a swim or some burpees. Like that's something that over the years I've always known about myself. I relax in a different way than some people. Like some people need to sit down and read a book and like, just do that sedentary type of like self-care. I'm the opposite. Like I need to go be in a mountain or like be somewhere else. Like I need to definitely be in nature and be outside. So those are some of the things that really fuel me. And then I hate to say it, but I need to also be alone. Even though I'm in here a lot by myself.
Yeah.
Your brain is constantly thinking or you're overthinking and then you kind of are in this like weird creepy vacuum. But for me, I need to almost like go and be alone to release all of that so that I can then accept and like refuel to
Yeah.
output more with other people. But those are just like some of the basics that I do. And of course, like I just also love being a movie zombie, like tapping out and like watching movies. Like, I don't really get that luxury anymore because of the kid. And like by the time my day is done, she can't watch the movies I want to watch because they're all like horror movies or like,
Do you know what?
what I
I
mean?
had that the other night. I had that last night. My daughter, I went to bed to lay down because of peace and quiet and watch an episode
Right.
of Welcome to Derry, the new
Oh,
series.
right.
And she jumped
Right.
into bed and she went, "Daddy, can I lay with you?" And I said, "Well, not really, because I'm watching something that is a bit scary." And she went, "It's all right. I've seen Wednesday on Netflix." And I went,
Bless.
yeah, it's a bit scarier than that." So
Yeah.
I couldn't, and
Oh, I
it's horrible,
love it.
isn't it? It's horrible to push them
It's
away,
bad.
but you're
It's
right. I
yeah.
mean, when you say that, you're alone in that booth, that's your work area, isn't it? So in your mind, I suppose you're thinking, right, I'm work mode. So then
Yeah.
being alone somewhere doesn't have to be in the mountains. It could be in a park or it could be down, to gather
Yeah.
your thoughts.
Or
I
at the
think
gun
that's a
range.
really
Like,
good.
I don't know.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Shooting off a few rounds. Bye.
Well, saying that, all the rage in the UK at the moment, I don't know if they've got them where you are, but they're called rage rooms.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
it's
yes,
where
yes.
you
I'm not.
dress protective gear
Yeah,
and like you smash stuff up.
it's weird. I'm like not into those. Like my friends have asked me if I've done them. I'm like, I guess people think I'm into that, but I'm like, I don't really. I don't have that kind of rage in my system. Like, it's
You know.
weird. I don't really resonate with them, but I do love hearing about people's experiences in there, and it does help them.
See,
Like
I
some
couldn't
people
do
that
it
they just
because
don't.
I'll be scared that I'll be told off by the wife. Like every time I like break something, she'll be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But it's like sort of
I broke a
people really
teapot.
get something out of it though, like the
Yeah, yeah,
satisfaction of being able to do it and
yeah,
not get into trouble. But if that
yeah.
helps people, that is all what matters. Do you know what I mean?
I know. It's
So,
true.
so when are we going to see you on screen again? Because you do this marvelous work, with your voice. But when are we going to see more of you on screen?
I'm manifesting that. I don't know. That part of my career has actually been a little bit pushed to the edge for the last few years. I decided to take an active hiatus, like when I had the kid from on-camera work.
Right.
And then one of my colleagues brought me back to the screen in 2023, which was wonderful. It was another offer, which was really cool, and it was for a movie where I was playing a psychopath and stealing her baby. But it was great and it was fun, but I realized at that point too that um I don't know if I like at that time it was so fun, but then I came back and I'm like, "Oh my God, I missed like 5 weeks with my kid, like my baby, because she was
Mm.
still a baby." So now I'm at a good place like where I can do that. I'm like ready, like my everything in my system I think is like realigned to welcome in those opportunities where I would have to go away or just be more committed to on set. So we'll see. We'll see what the team
I
and
mean,
the
are
universe pulls in.
studios are studios quite accommodating on you bringing kids, or do they prefer not to, like for you to bring?
God, I don't know. I have no clue. I've never been through that on
Hmm.
that journey yet. So I don't
Oh,
know. But I feel like, if I were to be on a set with some of the projects that I've done in, my repertoire in the past, I don't know. Cause like if there's a lot of crazy action stunt scenes or like blood on set, like I don't know. I don't think
yeah,
I want my
yeah,
kid there.
yeah,
I just wouldn't want my kids seeing me like in character
yeah, yeah. It can be
at
very
work
confusing, can't
playing a
it?
freak.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
weird. Even in here, she hears me sometimes do video game auditions where I'm, like, screaming or fighting or, like, an army thing, and her face is squished up against because I have a glass door. She's like, "You okay, mom?" Like, she'll, like, freak out. I'm like, "No, I'm good, I'm good."
Do you know what?
So,
That
I
is
don't
that
yeah.
is going to come back and bite you in years to come when you're telling her off for something, and she'll be going,
Right,
"Oh, mummy, that's just one of your voices," and like
you're
then she'll be like,
acting, yeah.
"No, I'm really angry." Okay, it's just another audition. Um,
Oh god, you could be right. You could be right.
I mean,
Oh, no, I know.
manifesting. There's so many great shows out at the moment,
Yeah.
great films. Is this a show that you'd like to work on? Is there a film that you'd like to be in, or is there someone that you'd like to work with? Because I'm a great believer in manifesting. I think that if you want it and you manifest it, you'll get it.
Man, it's hard to really be so pigeonholed in my thought process, but for me, I think I I think of things like, "Oh, man, I can't wait to, like, work on a movie that shoots in New York," or, "Ooh, it would be fun to do, like, a recurring guest star on a show back in my hometown in Vancouver where I can go back and forth and, like, be with my family and friends and, like, take out my family for dinner when I'm on set." Or I think about things like, "Ooh, like, I would love to shoot a movie in or a project in England." Like, my husband is from
Mm.
England, and we have family there, and, like, I have family in Romania and Spain, so, like, I think that's how I function. I know it's weird, but I'm just like, "Oh, it'd be cool to, like, work on a project that's, like, a limited series that's, taking me to this part of town or over here." So that's my train of thought.
So
Um,
basically, a
I
free
used
holiday. Is that what you're trying
oh,
to get?
yeah, me, it's kinda like I love being able to take myself away from, like, the city that I may or may not be in. But then again, like, it would be awesome to shoot a movie in Palm Springs. where I could just
Mm.
drive to set. Like, okay, sweet. Like, hey, what's up? And that's how it was when I started when I lived in Vancouver. Like, it was, you drive yourself to set and it's literally in your backyard. But in terms of people, like, I don't know. It's so hard for me to isolate certain people because there's so many actors and directors and even producers that I really love. Like, the list would be endless. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start right now. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't. That's the one. I wish I prepared this answer better, but I don't have it. That's kind of just it. It's more
That is
like,
fine. So everyone needs to follow you on social media so we can see what those manifested films and TV shows are. But I do hope to see you on screen soon because
thank you.
you're absolutely
Oh,
rocking it
thank
in the
you.
voiceover world. But it's also nice to see someone that is clearly very talented from the stuff that you've done. And I promise I am going to watch that Danny Trejo film that you're in.
Do it.
Is it something
Dead Again in
Tombstone?
Tombstone.
Yeah, I need
Dead
to
Again
watch
in
it.
Tombstone. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I've gotta
fun. It
watch
was
it.
it was a lot of fun. That was a great
Oh.
set. I mean, I got to ride my horse, do most of my action scenes. It was sick. It was cool.
And Danny Trejo, what a guy! I mean,
Legend.
to say I didn't realize that he went to prison and then he come out and he's literally changed his life, and now he's he's got a donut shop
Which you need to try them. They're actually really good.
Are they good?
Good.
Are they good? I
They're
mean,
good.
he's an absolute dude. So yeah, I would definitely check it out, and I'll let everyone know on social media what I think. I'm sure I'm going to love it. But Alicia, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I'm going to bid farewell because, to be fair, I haven't been to the toilet yet, and it's been like 3.5 hours, and
God.
I'm now going to hot dog. I'm not going to hot dog, which is just laying with your arms next to each other and just not saying anything at all.
I love that.
So I
Take it from
cannot
me,
wait.
it's
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on to the show. Thank you for everyone watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to bid you farewell and hopefully speak to you in the future when you have your next project out. I'd love to have you back onto the show. Someone's just put. Thank you, Brian, for holding out so long. Oh dear. But thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon. Stay super as always, Alicia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Bye.
Bye, guys.
So that was the end of the stream. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, please hit subscribe or follow for Be More Super on whatever platform you're watching on at the moment, because I've got some great guests coming up interview-wise. Also, stay connected on our social media. Please let us know if there's any guests that you'd like us to invite onto the show. But thank you once again for watching. You've been an absolute awesome crowd watching for the last 3.5 hours. I'm going to go now and go to the toilet, but thank you so much. Remember to hit the link at the bottom of this video to either order Dave Barclay's autograph memoir, his autobiography from Cool Waters Productions. That would be great. And also go and support Mind by donating as little or as much as you want. If you can't donate, that is fine. Just be kind to each other. And the next time you see someone, just say something really nice to them, because you never know what type of day they're having. They might be having a horrible day. And that one moment of kindness might change their minds on, their day, their future, or the decision making. But thank you so much. Keep safe and stay super.